Am I still muted? Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let me know. Not you can read lips. Am I still muted, y'all? Y'all gotta let me know. Okay, you can hear me loud and clear. I'm sorry. I was using a different setup earlier and I was recording my live reactions and I gotta get my stuff together in the back end. Child, a mess. Anyway, shout out to John who was the first one up in the chat. Shout out to Angela, Keish, Kimberly Felder, Nzinga. All of them joined me for a live earlier. I think I said Kimberly Felder already. And a couple other people. I go live every single day on my personal channel. So if y'all are not subscribed, what you waiting on? Go subscribe to my personal channel. But we were live for 5 hours today. Part of it was when I was doing my live reactions. But it's been great. Today is day 20 of a 30-day challenge I put myself through to basically go live every single day. And it's about different things. A lot of it has been like screenwriting advice, behind the scenes and industry advice, things like that. And people were able to ask me questions. So subscribe. Thanks. But we got a lot to unpack in this episode, y'all. Like, bruh, I was not expecting this episode. John started the chat off saying he wasn't expecting this episode. Hey Serene, hey Kofi, shout out to all the members in the chat. Thank y'all for subscribing and being members to the channel. Adriana, how are you, boo? Hey Dominic, our lovely moderator. Hey Vanessa, you said you're listening. Okay, boo, we got you. We got you. Let me know if the audio levels are good too, y'all, so I can adjust if I need to before we get into what we need to get into, okay? EdXXD, how are you? Hey, Sheena. Happy to finally get to chat on one of my lives. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Letitia, I believe. Let me know if I mispronounced it. Hey, Mercedes. Hey, Jada Not Famous. Hey, boo, welcome in. Deanna, how are you? Money Green Tay. Did I get everybody? Shakina. I know better than that. How are you, boo? Tay Love, that's a new name. Micah, hey boo. Micah was on a personal live earlier as well. K Ray, hey boo. Oh my gosh, we gotta catch up. I know I've been saying that, but we really do gotta catch up because I freaking miss you, friend. Christina, how are you? All right. Candy Love, hey boo. I'm good, Kofi. I'm good. This was a very interesting episode, child. A very interesting episode. And if you remember, you got to see my live reactions, or you haven't yet, they are posted, so you can check them out after this live. Or if you're not a member, you still want to see it, you can go see it on part of my personal live that I did today on my personal channel. I am not disappointed in this episode. Y'all drop y'all's ratings on a scale of 1 to 10. Hey, Antonio, welcome in. Come on, made it in on time. Hey, Tamia. Hey, boo. On a scale of 1 to 10, y'all let me know. Because I'm about to say what I think, and I don't want to ever sway nobody. So, y'all drop them ratings 1 to 10. Episode 8. What y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? What are our thoughts? I got a little bit of notes, but I didn't take nearly as enough. My breakdown, I think, is going to be great. I really got to buckle down and do the breakdown after this because I have missed 2 breakdowns on y'all, and I'm really sorry about that. But after seeing this episode, I'm probably not going back and doing those episode breakdowns. Those episodes was chaotic. The lives are going to have to serve as what we got in reference to breakdowns for this episode. Hey, Mac, welcome in, boo. Hey, Erica James, how are you, honey? Hey, Jasmine, welcome in. Oh, y'all are going off. Let me start reading these numbers before I get too far behind. Hey, Shari. Mercedes gave it a 9. Antonio gave it a 7 out of 10. Taylor gave it an 8. Jada Not Famous gave it a 9. Kofi gave it a 10. Angela gave it a 7. Shari gave it an 8. I'm so far behind. I don't think I finished 5 yet. Ooh. Well, you gonna get spoilers in this. I don't want to spoil it for you. Shakina gave it an 8. Sheena gave it an 8. Okay. Max says one of the best episodes of the season because Asher and his family were in the episode. Listen, Mac, you don't want Kofi to have to pull up. You do not want Kofi to have to pull up. So not too much on Asher Adams. Erica James gave it a 9. Kendry, hey boo, gave it a 9. Elizabeth Lassiter, hey boo, welcome in, gave it an 8.5. Serene gave it a 7.5. Oh, Jesus, it skipped. I was doing very good. Okay, here we go. Keish gave it an 8 because of Leila. K-Ray gave it a solid 7. Edix XD, I don't even watch All American. I'm just here to support. I appreciate that, boo. And it's going to be a great conversation whether you watch the episode or not. Because you know the characters, right? You still know them. All the episode told me is that Billy should have never been killed off. Well, then say that, Mac. Go ahead and set the tone for the live. Go ahead and set the tone for the live and say that. Jasmine gave it a 7. Candy Love says, do you mind sharing what system you're using? To live stream, I live stream with OBS. It's a free open broadcaster software that you download onto your computer, and you can configure it in so many ways. You could do all of these different things with it, and all of what y'all see. So like the pink down here and up there, and in the chat or whatever. All of that is custom by me, but it like the software allows you to create that. I created all the graphics in like Photoshop or whatever, and then put them on screen. And you should follow my personal channel because I detail stuff like that and like go into depth and like show people behind the scenes as I'm making stuff on my personal channel. So if you want to know more, then jump over there and like drop a comment on one of the most recent videos, and I can definitely address that in my next live. Vanessa gave it a 9. Micah says a 6. This episode was textbook All-American because everything was making sense until it wasn't. How does Leila realize the engagement was a trigger and still stays in the engagement? Micah, we supposed to ease into this. Why you jumping right on in, raw dogging it like that? Because points were made. Points were made. I'm confuddled at the end of the episode as well. Nancy gives it a 9.5. It was great seeing Tay. It was great seeing Tay. Quiet as kept. It was great seeing Tay. Theana gave it a 7.2. Alana says, hey boo, I have mixed feelings on the episode as a whole. I loved everything with Billy and seeing him was great. I wasn't totally sold on Spencer's one episode journey as a pseudo Billy figure for the kid. Child. Points were made. This is why I love y'all so much, because we be here. We see each other. Okay? We see each other. Kimberly Felder says a 9. Miss Greta girl, why you so good? Period. Greta is going to eat down every single time. Leave no crumbs. When it comes to this acting thing, she's not new to this. She is true to this. And she is the top of the top, the epitome of the epitome when it comes to this series. I don't give a good goddamn. Okay? Daniel Esbert, we love you. You're very talented. But based on the material, as it pertains to storylines, Greta eating everybody alive. Like, no problems, leaving no crumbs. The nuance, the specificity, the realism. Tatum gave it a solid 7. Okay, everybody is above a 6. I don't think I actually seen a 6. Have I seen a 6? I haven't seen a 6. So everybody's above a 7, it seems. Kenny Ford gave it an 8. Adriana gave it a 9. Okay, Alana's giving it a 7.5, and Jordala plot felt a little underwritten, even though I could see what they were going for. Yes, that's one thing that was super clear this episode. You know exactly what they were trying to do, which I appreciate, because a lot of the times they have left us in the waters, just out here treading water, about to drown, not knowing where they wanted us to go, where they wanted us to arrive to, how they wanted us to get there, but they just hoping that we arrive at that place. And it's like, no. One thing about Greta, she gonna eat it up. Them crying scenes every time. Yes. I don't mind spoilers at all. I'm just happy to be here live. Oh, well, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so we done with ratings? We done with ratings? Come on, Black Woman and Tech. I can't with you, Dominic. Tanya gave it an 8. Leila's MVP of this episode. Listen, I have told y'all that Leila Keaton's story arcs over the course of the series, has been at the very top. Like, she has, I think, the best storylines, period. Now, season 4 and 5. But when we got into Leila in this episode, I immediately was just overwhelmed with the amount of authenticity I felt jumping off the screen, with the very visceral feeling of like, pay attention to me. Like, that particular moment, the first scene of her doing the introduction with the therapist, usually I'll be like on my phone, scroll TikTok, doing something else, not really paying attention to All American, but trying to pay attention so I could actually give y'all something, right? But that moment is like, it pulled me into the episode where it's like, you cannot look at nothing else. You can't think about nothing else. You need to focus on what's happening here. And with every line, I felt like I was like leaning in more of like, oh, wait, what's going on? Oh my God. Oh, this is it. And as we watch her storyline progress throughout the episode, all the way up until the end, because the end I have a problem with, I felt so damn vindicated, y'all. Like, I felt so good watching Leila, and I know that she's hurting. I know that she's struggling. So I want to be clear. I'm not like relishing in her struggle, but I'm relishing in knowing that there were so many questions that had not been asked and damn sure have not been answered by way of these characters' actions. And I knew that they had to be present. The way that we have been glossing over very real things that could have affected this girl and acting as if they didn't, but she has a very clear mental health issue, a mental health struggle, and we're just going to use the medicine as proxy, but then the therapist is automatically jumping in, and it's a new therapist at that. She's jumping in and unearthing like, okay, well, we got to go ahead and assess everything. Leila being defensive off the jump about this relationship told me everything that I needed to know, and validated and vindicated me in so deeply. Because y'all know I've been saying for weeks, I'm not here for it. I don't see it. Jordan is not ready for her. And it's not because Jordan is just a terrible person. He has terrible moments. He's not a terrible person. But that told me that subconsciously, Leila, you know not what you're doing. You know what you're in. And you know that something's off. But her subconscious and her conscious is seemingly having a battle of who can provide the safest space for her. Because so much of the decisions that Leila has made up until this point, leaving the whole Carrie era and leaving the like, I'm unstable mentally era, which is a struggle that she's going to have the rest of her life. But the way I feel like, positioned it in telling the story, they've made it seem like she completely left them eras and she good. I think that she's made nothing but safe choices ever since then. And she was never destined to actually just do the safe thing. And I thought it was so brilliant for them to mirror that with her mama's story. And while she's still doing boss stuff, while she's still being ambitious, she's not actually pushing herself much. All of what she's doing is well within her wheelhouse, well within her like safety realm, which we are learning, or at least they alluding to in this episode, how that could have been similar for her mother. Like the words of like, I'm just doing things. I have felt that while you're doing them in excellence, Leila, you're doing things. This relationship with Jordan is you doing things that seem like they should be. I should be in love. I should have a handsome, tall, athletic boyfriend that adores me. I should be, running my dad's record label, but then taking it over and finding a way for myself. I should be opening up a lounge. But do you want to do any of these things, girl? Do you really feel called to them? Who is Leila Keaton? Do you really even know, child? The way they opened up they opened up some little new passageway that I'm so excited for them to actually explore. Aside from them arriving at the end of the episode with like wrapping up her storyline very sweetly and her staying in it, similar to what Micah mentioned at the top of this live, I still think there's so much to be unearthed. And while they did try to button it up like with a nice little bow, which they typically do now, and I hate it, it's like, where are the cliffhangers? Where are the 3-episode story arcs? Where are the 4 or 5-episode story arcs? Where are the things where you plant the seed at the top of the season and we don't get the answer until the very end? Because seasons 1 and season 2 of All American had all of that up in it. Tell me if I'm wrong, but seasons 1 and season 2 of All American had all of that up in the gumbo, and now all of a sudden we got to get to the end of every single episode, and everything got to be perfect. Oh my God, everything is fine. This relationship is triggering up out of me, but I'm gonna stay in it because guess what? I belong here. Oh my God, Spencer James, you are basically Billy Baker 2.0, and you're 21. It's great. Like, what? Let me read some of y'all's comments because I'm going off. Kofi says, feels like I'm gonna have to fight for my man Jordan because it looks like the streets is saying they wanted. Oh, it skipped. Sorry, because I be so behind, it be forcing me. Saying they wanted a breakup of the engagement. Here we go. So Kofi. You know I love you, right? Jordan will not die if he's not engaged to Leila Key. It is not the same of you defending Jordan Baker and defending this relationship. We're going to have to go ahead and create some separation there, but we're going to have to create some separation because if the relationship is not working for Leila and it's triggering her on a very deep subconscious level, that does not mean that Jordan is a terrible person as it pertains to Leila. Now, if people have conversation and talking points around and about that Jordan is a terrible character, that could be a whole other conversation, but that's completely separate from the need for them to break up. For me, it's completely steeped in what Leila needs and he ain't it. That don't make it good, that don't make it bad. Now, is Jordan a so-so person? Hell yeah, because he's very selfish and he don't realize it. And the part that you got to give him grace for is that he's operating in the wheelhouse that he was taught and brought up in, and his parents did not do a damn good job of giving him any type of self-awareness, empathy, emotional intelligence, and some of the mental wherewithal that he was going to need to navigate certain spaces that he's in. So we got to work with that. But people saying that they need to break up is not an immediate attack against Jordan's character. It is a stop, look, and listen into what Leila Keaton as a person needs and deserves. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. I haven't watched since Coop was Pow Pow. Child, Candy, you gonna have to catch up for real. Because Coop is a lawyer now, doing mock trials and preparing for depositions and everything. I'm proud of Coop. Max says, all I'm going to say is if we going to get Ghost Billy at Spencer's draft, I'm going to be, if we don't get Ghost Billy at Spencer's draft, I'm going to be pressed. I like Ghost Billy. They shouldn't have killed him off, but I think I need Tay in the series. Oh, I didn't give y'all a rating for the episode. I would probably give this episode a 7. I would give it a solid 7. In the 7... truthfully, it's riding 100% on Leila Keaton's back because even Dion's story arc in this episode for me started out strong, but they could have built up Dion as well. Like, why is he so aggressive towards Spencer immediately? Like, he has been a mild-mannered little meek boy who is amazing with football. Cool. But now all of a sudden, you need the longitude and latitude. Boy, I oughta. When I was on, I was like, that's an easy mink. What are you talking about? You need a longitude and latitude of where I'm going. You staying in my house. You don't get your little raggedy ass double back. I mean, clearly we can't throw the little boy out, but sir, and I don't have a problem with Dion going there and acting out and doing certain things to manifest his frustration with his current living circumstances and like the instability in that, right? But we hadn't seen any of that before, so it just felt very rushed. And then when it got to the end of his storyline at the end of the episode, it's buttoned up and the sister, oh, well, you coming home and I'm actually going to listen this time. Girl, I mean, I appreciate it, but also Again, it all happened way too quick. And if we're going to talk about, which I guess we need to kind of compartmentalize because I could literally jump around this damn episode. But if we're going to talk about, and I don't remember who mentioned it, I'm very, very sorry. You can shout yourself out in the chat. But we're going to talk about how Spencer was positioned in this episode to basically be Billy. I literally wrote down, is anybody concerned? Like, I have notes. I promise you, I'm not lying. I have notes. Is anybody concerned about Spencer's experience at 21, him experiencing what Billy was experiencing at over 40? It's giving red flag to me. But it's giving a red flag that this series has had as a whole for a good majority of it. Like, I think they were dipping their toes in it in season 1 and season 2. But like they went head first in it in season 3. And it's these kids never actually getting to be kids. And not in the way of like you growing up in the hood and you got to be a little bit more mature to keep your head on the swivel so that you actually survive. But in the constant hookup culture, the drugs, the alcohol, the parents relegating any type of responsibility to raising the kids onto the damn kids. Like, aside from Grace, which basically, now that Spencer's in college, she's decided that she ain't going to be the mama. I mean, she is the mama, but I would just expect her to have a little bit more to her. From season 3, the series has had no problems with unequivocally throwing these teenagers into these very, very adult circumstances. And then so many people are jumping on board and rooting for them to, like, make it out of this very adult circumstance. And I'm just like, well, can we get to see them as kids? Like, what are we doing? So while I enjoyed watching Billy Baker appear as a ghost for Spencer and hearing his words in the journal, and I'm going to go also say this. See, y'all going to have to remind me. Dominic, I need you to be on the horn tonight. Because when I tell you I'm just going to spit out all these thoughts and y'all going to have to pull me back to them. Because aside from Spencer having to be the Billy, at 21, when Billy was 40-something when Spencer landed on his goddamn doorstep, cool. You mean to tell me that Billy Baker wrote 2 letters to his twin kids and then proceeded to be an absentee goddamn daddy? I don't know if I believe those letters. And I'm like, all this posthumous Billy Baker content and like, the revisionist history is wild to me. The only thing I did believe is the journal. And I could rock with that. Like, I'm not mad at the letters, but I don't know if I fully believe the letters. And I'm like trying to suspend my disbelief to like go ahead and take it. Cause like, okay, they were children, like baby child. Okay, cool. But I don't know if Billy Baker had that foresight then. The journal, I actually do believe, and I thought that it was really great elements. I did enjoy them bringing Billy in the way that he did, but that I definitely struggle with. So then you use this to position him to be going through what Billy was going through at 40, and this boy is 21, an NFL draft pick, in the middle of the week before or days before a national championship game, and he got all this free time to worry about this. No red flags? Am I the only one? Let me catch up on y'all's comments. Want to know my rating? NA out of 10 because based on the snips I've seen, it looks good. I can't. Not only is Leila's story arc is well written, Greta translating those emotions so well. We can feel it. It's crazy. Yes. Hey, Curly Cutie. I really enjoyed the editing in this episode. I thought it was going to be cheesy, but I love the use of the letters as a way of Billy to speak to the twins and Spencer. Yeah, the editing was solid. It was solid. I wish they would have kind of like shored up, I guess, the story part in reference to like how the letters came about. Micah says I was into it. Her seeing Jordan and her representing her parents' relationship was shocking, but made sense. And I thought it would have clicked in her head about the relationship. Then, she said, "Psych." Yep. I actually like the therapy scene with Jordan and Leila representing Leila's dad and mom. Yeah, that was a really solid choice. For her to open the door and for it to be them, that was a really brilliant choice, for sure. Leila needs to run away from Jordan fast, like the Flash, child. And I think again, it's less about um Jordan as a character, and it's just more about he's not it. She's not ready to get married. Sorry, y'all. It's skipped. I'm so far behind on these comments. Chad, let me read from down here because it'll be quicker. She's not ready to get married. Curly Cutie says she's not ready to get married for whatever reason. She's holding on to this engagement for dear life safety. I don't know why Jordan thinks he needs to propose to everyone he dates. Baby, the questions. The questions I fear need to be answered, and they weren't actually answered. So for us to arrive at the end and we all kumbaya and she still ain't get her answers. Jordan, why did you propose to me? Because I love you. Well, you proposed to Simone, so do you love me more than you love her, or do you love me just the same? We're all ears, Jordan Baker. We're all ears. Layla's not ready to get married. Layla proves the writers can still tell good stories but won't commit. Serene, that's it. That's it right there. That's it. Because y'all got it in you. You just don't want to do it all the time. Yes, they make up at the end of every episode. I feel like a lot of what Layla has done is because she's been trying to prove to herself and everyone else that she can do all these things, even as she's struggling with her mental health. I think it's less about proving that she could do all these things and more about proving that she could be this thing that she imagined herself to be versus what she actually wants to be. But is any of it her actual passion? Exactly. Layla did a good job, but the other stuff was just stuff fillers. Yeah, a lot of it was fillers for sure. Layla said everything she knows is wrong about the relationship. Called it out, clocked it. I'm gonna need these writers to stop setting Dion up as the new lead. That kid can. I actually really enjoyed Dion in the previous seasons. I mean, not previous seasons, child. Previous episodes, but this one, it did feel like a couple moments the actor was really pushing, and I could tell. So that's like, yeah, I totally feel that. Jordan has a major mental health issue and needs help. Ooh. You go and share with the class, Angela, what you think it is? Because we talked about this. If y'all didn't go and watch on my personal channel, I did a rewrite of episode 7, I guess it was. And that was a very long live too, because we were going and we were like really unpacking Jordan as a character. And Angela offered some really great psychological context to the Jordan character. And again, y'all could go and check that out and like unpack that because it was brilliant. Leila as a character is more than just her struggle with her mental health and ability to overcome it. Everything she does shouldn't just be about doing it because she can. Yeah. Kobe, she said herself that Jordan is the only one to see her even in her depression, looks at her the same loving eyes that he gave her, but she stayed and reiterated that she loves him. So we shall see. I hear this, Kofi, right? Like I really do hear this. I'm trying to figure out how I want to say it. Give me a second. I'm processing how I want to articulate that. Because your girl's trying to do better. She's trying to do better. Shout out to Fenty. Okay. Kofi's comment is, she said herself that Jordan is the only one to see her, even in her depression. Looks at her with the same loving eyes he gave her and out. But she stayed and reiterated that she loves him. So we shall see. All of that sounds great in theory. But once you actually apply it in practice, it doesn't actually hold water. So she said herself that Jordan is the only one that sees her and looks at her in a certain way, even with her depression. Layla has been closed off and has been about the damn vortex and been in the vortex. So I'm not giving brownie points to Jordan for seeing her or making her feel seen amongst a bunch of people who don't fully see her and don't appreciate her, who and have proven that they don't actually do that. I will bet my bottom dollar if she was engaging with more people and open to experiencing more people, there would be other people who would gravitate towards her and would love her, whether depressed or not, because she's just a phenomenal woman. So Jordan doesn't get that credit for me. And when you're in it, you're not going to be able to see it. So Layla's not going to be able to clock that. Quiet as kept, Patience is one of the realest people within that whole damn vortex as it pertains to Layla, and loves her through all of it and has displayed that and not blaming her around the whole Miko thing, even though it's not Layla's fault, but like how Layla took on that guilt and shame herself, and then Patience made a point of like, girl, none of this is your fault, and I love you, and you've done this, and this for me, and I appreciate you. So I part of it is like you can hear Layla and she can say these things, but she's also in a current episode right now. She's experiencing emotional and mental distress right now, trying to make sense of things right now, and she's gravitating to her safety blanket. Jordan is a safety blanket. He is not actually a cure. He is a band-aid, and maybe it's healing underneath and maybe it's not. And I think this episode is a great example of like she put the band-aid over it and thought that the thing was healing underneath, and then you peel it back and it's still festering. It's still a wound because you never actually cleaned it out. You never actually got in there. You never actually treated it. You just decided to apply band-aids over this wound thinking it was going to heal on its own, and it didn't. Now, when you go to the whole he hasn't switched up, I think that is a yet, because we already clocked this, and I already said this when we were, talking about Jordan and Simone, and me coming to a realization like 3 episodes ago that Jordan is the type of person who he's going to go to a certain extent and then he's going to give up. He gave up on Simone. He gave up in that relationship specifically because he felt like he wasn't being impactful and he couldn't help her. And he needs to be needed. That's one of Jordan's fatal flaws. So the moment that this becomes too much and he cannot actually find an answer, find a solution, and Layla is unwilling to do the things that he's expecting her to do and show up in the ways that he's expecting her to show up, or allow him to fix it, I doubt that we would be in the same place and she would still be feeling these loving eyes. We've already seen examples of it where he's lashed out at her or snapped at her for not doing what she said she was going to do, or not being who he expected her to be, because he has already placed her in a certain place in his life and he already regards her in a certain way. So I don't think that that's actually real. And for the character Layla to say it, I think it's a very real and authentic thing, because she's in the bubble, in the haze of her current circumstances and what she believes to be true and what she's hoping to like wish and want to be true as it pertains to the choices that she's currently made. But that doesn't make it true just because she said it, if that makes sense. She can love him all day. He can love her all day. And we've been saying this the last 3 weeks running at least. They can both be loving each other the best they can. And the amount and the way that Jordan loves Layla can still not be enough for what she needs. Micah said that Layla said, I have feelings about my mom I haven't gotten over. Jordan's response, you don't want to marry me. Clock it. Okay. He's obsessed with marriage, but I guess I can appreciate him being willing to let her go. There's something to be said about that. But there was a few of things in Jordan's dialogue specifically that I'm not going to demonize him over, but I am going to be like, asterisk there. Because even when the scene where she came to bed and he was watching the podcast with Mac, because also, why in the hell is Mac on a podcast? Stupidity. But he's watching that, and the moment that she gets in bed, he's like, oh, can I keep watching this, or do you want to talk about therapy and Simone and whatnot? Excuse me? Excuse me? A mess. Antonio says the Jordan and Billy letter just kept me thinking about what Angela said the other day. Hey, Ashley, welcome in, boo. Ashley Monique says one of the problems is there's too many characters. There isn't enough time for depth in storytelling. The writing thing is too shallow for me at this point. I think it's just enough characters, and they can leave certain people out of episodes like they did Asher in this episode, which I think was a great choice. I think that they need to focus on stretching some of these storylines out so that they give themselves time. There are plenty of things that could have been gotten rid of in previous episodes that they could have used to build up to the things that we got to in this episode. The last two episodes, for all intents and purposes for me, was a chaotic mess of deleted scenes that we didn't actually need to see, that annoyed the hell out of me. She could have left, but she stayed. If the relationship is a trigger, why is she staying? Baby, nothing in this life is like my happy stance. Kofi, let me go ahead and be clear. And if you feel like Kofi feel, I want to be clear. I am not saying that you are thinking this. Okay? What I'm about to say next, I am not attributing to you. However, as your good sis, you love to talk TV and now life with, I would be remiss to not bring up what this is synonymous to me as, and to give you something to think about when positioning certain things like this. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and pause. I am very, very far behind in these comments, and I'm sorry, but you know what? I love a little thought-provoking moment that allows us to dig deeper and tie things in the fictitious life to something real. We're all aware of what's going on right now as it pertains to video footage of what went down with Cassie and Diddy back in 2016. Correct? I believe we're correct. We got to see the malicious, demonic actions taken by this man in a relationship with this woman who was also operating as her abuser. There is a ton of conversation around why didn't Cassie leave? She stayed for 10 years. Why didn't she leave after this? When we have video footage of what happened to her as she was in one attempt out of however many, because we don't know how many attempts she's had to actually leave. Now, no, Leila is not in an abusive relationship or a similar circumstance to what we've seen Cassie in. However, when we're having a conversation around triggers and trauma, and I'm only going to go so far because I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a psychology degree. I have a very deep interest in it, and I love discussing human behavior and trying to get to the bottom of why we do the things that we do. I think that that's something that we need to take into consideration before we say certain things like, well, if so-and-so triggered you, why didn't you leave? If so-and-so disrespected you, then why did you stay? If so-and-so didn't see you correctly, why did you still love them? Because there's still so many other things at play amongst circumstances of traumas and triggers and disrespect. I was in multiple relationships where I was disrespected and dismissed and still loved those people. And that wasn't a choice that I was making. The love was there. It was something else to contend with, to deal with amongst all of the other things that are happening. So to say, if she was triggered, why did she stay? That is to discount her whole experience as a person, not even just as a woman. Because 1 + 1 does not equal 2, like in this regard. It's the trigger. It's the, well, what other things could be out there? It's the, well, this isn't the worst that it could possibly be. And we see that play out every week because Erica is giving us that narrative every single week. Well, this ain't the worst relationship she's been in, so she should stay. But she's still triggered. She's still suffering emotionally and mentally. It's still something. And we are not always aware of our next best step or the thing that we should do, which is why we are flawed humans and why we make the mistakes that we make. But again, I would be remiss to not point out to say, if she was triggered, why she's staying, as a gross overstep and oversimplification of what goes on in interpersonal relationships, not just romantic ones. Now, if you have any questions about that, let me know. You said, you continue to say, help me understand. I don't know if I know Jordan. If I did leave, he'll wait for Leila to be whole. Somebody else also told her that he would wait for her. Did he wait for her? So that's another great example. Like, even in your question or even in your statements, it's pointing to reasons why she would actually try to tough it out and grin and bear it. Leila is a character who has suffered quite a lot over the course of the time that we've seen her and had been suffering prior to the series even starting. So she has developed a certain tolerance to uncomfortability. She's developed a certain tolerance to social struggle. She's developed a certain tolerance to like happiness if I'm just be curt, right? I think that Leila has an idea of what happiness is, but she hasn't been able to fully allow herself to experience it. And when she has tried, she has been burnt, which has made her pull back, which is understandable. Thank you for saying your comment because I think that that was a very important thing to add to this conversation. Um, they need someone to be the leader. Sad part is Spencer is the most level-headed and equipped. Yes, that was my other concern, Erica. Besides it not feeling realistic because it happened too quickly, Spencer takes a couple of psych credits and then all of a sudden he's wise beyond his years. Therapist child, yes. I think that he could definitely go that route, but they needed to build that up. They really did. Yes, because they got these kids being their parents. How the parallels from the letter from Spencer was Billy and Laura. How when he brought Spencer in, the same as Dion. Yep. Jada Campbell says yes, revisionist history. Even the journal was rewriting history. Spencer wasn't that bad. He was angry, but he wasn't that bad. Alana says he still has more life to live before he can have as much wisdom as Billy had by the time he died. True. Angela says, Erica, he messed up when he said in Olivia's letter that he said a few years and you will graduate. Yes, I caught that too, but I was trying not to be too critical. I'm like, okay, I caught that, but I'm gonna let it slide. How did he know that those kids would go to college? I think that the purpose of the letters was for them to get it upon going to college. So that was an expectation. But for the writing in the letters to say in a few years you will graduate, I'm like, but didn't Laura say that he wanted you to give those letters upon their graduation day? So like now y'all not being consistent. All right, let me try to catch up. Because I know I said a few things that probably like got y'all. At least Jordan had the balls to check the crooked coach. I got thoughts on that. Um, do you think that Jordan can be a redeemable character if they want him to be? I don't know if they want him to be. I think the problem is that the writers don't actually see Jordan as a character that needs to be redeeming. They have positioned him in a lot of ways, even like him checking the Coach Mac. While he's right in it, even how they shot it, Jordan gets a lot of I got you moments over other characters. And it's like, sir, you're not morally superior to any of these people because Coach Mac was the holy grail and you was willing to slide Smith up under every bus that you can find just to get an attaboy from this man. And now you see his true intentions that were there all along. And now all of a sudden it's I got you and I'm going to do me. Like you need to be questioning yourself and your decision making and your deep desire to be accepted and to be propped up by that man particularly and to turn your back on your brother for that man in particular. But we don't get any of those things. So while I do think that the character could be redeemable, I don't even think that the writer's in a place where they think that he needs to be redeemed. So we're never going to see all of the beautiful storytelling that could come about if they actually chose to give him a redemption arc. Child, it's given I'm gonna have to open up the damn Discord tonight because I'm trying to read all of this, y'all, and I'm so far behind. Antonio, I just saw something from you that just made me like, oh, and I feel like you need to explain. Not explain, but I feel like we just have much better conversations. Things get so misinterpreted through text, and when we talk, it's like, oh, okay, it's so clear. It's like Leila and Coop's characters are the only ones that character development that was given deep thought. Antonio says, I don't think them breaking up is necessary, but I do think that she could have called off the engagement. That wasn't the thing I just saw. I'm gonna point that out once I get to it. I just wanted to try to not skip everybody. The questions weren't answered, Erica, and I'm not a hater for saying that the questions weren't answered. He did not answer the question. I love you is not answering the question because he also loves Simone. She was asking what is different and she didn't get that answer. And I'm also not going to argue with you. I'm going to address certain things that I could clarify for what you're saying, but I'm also not going to argue with you on this live. Elizabeth Lassiter said, I've been wondering this since Jordan proposed. After they married, where are they supposed to live? Child, maybe the Baker house. Oh, Lord. Hold on, y'all. My battery died. Next time, I'm going to get my continuous little thing, y'all. I'm sorry. I had to change the battery. Um, they probably live in the Baker Mansion or Leila's house. You can go back there or they can get a house. Leila got money. They'll be fine with that. Um, Jordan was going to answer, but she stopped him. Was she? I mean, was he? Because he said, where was all this coming from? That's not an answer. She said, what's wrong with kissing Jordan? With kissing Jordan, still did it. Everything wrong with getting engaged. Say yes. Stated what's wrong with the relationship. Stayed in the relationship. At least they consistent. Micah, I can't. Let me read that again because I feel like I read that all kind of ridiculous. Micah said, she said, what's wrong with kissing Jordan? Still did it. Everything wrong with getting engaged. Say yes. Stated what's wrong with the relationship and stayed in the relationship. At least they consistent. Child, points were made. Tay Love says, when Layla brought up Simone and engagement, I was like, yes, because child, you rushed to proposals. Come on now. Come on now. Shari says, I don't understand why Layla even mentioned Simone. It's been like 2 years now, and also asking Jordan if he loves Simone more than her is weird. Is it weird, Shari? Is it weird? Especially if it never got asked. Is it weird? This is all the stuff that should have came up at some point. That didn't, because it was in La La Land, Fairyland. Like, oh my God, everything is great. We just love each other so much. I don't think that it's weird. I think it's a very real thing for these things to come up. I think it could be interesting that's coming up now, and now she's coming off her meds, and then she's getting triggered. Maybe the Jordan like pushing for like the venue and the band, and like it became all real versus her just saying yes in the moment, and they saying okay 2 years from now, but then 1 year in he's like, okay girl, like let's do it, and she's like, wait a minute. But I feel like these are questions that should have came up, period. I also would not be like, if she stays with this therapist and then they revisit Bolivia's attack on her, and that was what, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, bring it up. Cause she dealt with it, period, point blank. What is going to exasperate that? Give me something to exasperate that, because Leila has had all of these things going on, and for the last 2 seasons, for the most part, they have just allowed her to mask feelings that could be brewing, that should be brewing, and y'all want us to pretend like their asses is not brewing, and she's not even going to consider it, even if she don't give into it, right? Even if she's not stuck on those feelings and in this particular place. Cool, but like at least have her address it, acknowledge it, something. Because for me, it felt like it was very unrealistic. I don't think it's weird for her to ask, well, what's different between me and Simone? She asked Spencer, do we fit? After seeing Kia. I don't think it was weird. The timing might be, but I don't think or the timing might be inconvenient and a little bit too late, but I think that this is something that needed to be said if their relationship was going to progress regardless. She locally believed that Jordan could leave her because everyone she got close to and important said that they loved her and left her. He did do better in this episode, though. He did do better in this episode. Well, he barely had ended his marriage with Simone when he started having feelings for Leila, and they started the relationship and engagement. Yep, yep. Um, Jordan don't know why he loves Simone nor Leila. Jordan falls in love with love. Keish, Keish. Now listen, I think that he need to be needed, but is that it? Is he falling in love with love? Um, yes, y'all like the live for me, pretty please. Uh, did she also say there was emptiness in his eyes after a while, or did I mishear that? I'm trying to think, Jada. I'm trying to think. Somebody said something about emptiness, but I don't remember who and what. Do you think Jordan can? Oh, I already answered that. At least Jordan had the balls to check. Oh, I think I talked about that. Layla better than me, says Jada not famous. I would have asked him that right after the proposal. It's a valid question. Period. Period. He only did the research after Spencer and Liv suggested for him to. Yep. That's why I rewrote it and wanted him to do it on his own because that would mean so much more if he had done that prior to like lashing out to Layla on Layla. Exactly. He wants and needs to be needed by somebody. Just like let's not forget how Laura even gave Jordan the letter so he doesn't whine because Jordan wants to be treated and seen how he wants. Ooh. Come on now. And his parents have enabled it this entire time. Like I said, she could walk away but decided to stay. So why is that if she reached this epiphany in therapy? Okay. I just gave you an example, and I don't know if you said this after I said what I said or before, so I'm gonna get do the benefit of the doubt and not assume that you're doubling down. Um, okay. If we calling out cheaters, oh, I'm not having that conversation. I'm not ready for that one. I will come back and reread the chat. I can't do it. Um, am I caught up yet? Am I caught up yet? You will stay when you have fear of leaving someone. Antonio says, okay, I don't understand what was wrong about him asking if she wanted to talk about it or not. He knew that she had came from therapy, so she might not want to talk about it. Um, I think I'm about to open the Discord because I feel like it would be easier to discuss it. Dominic, you're hilarious. Okay, I think I'm caught up, and I think I need to open up a Discord. Trauma bonds are real in abusive relationships. Why does this upcoming 100th episode feel so unceremonious? It just feels like any other episode with no real build up. Because I don't think that they're doing a build up to the actual like number 100th. I think it's just excited to have gotten there. Also, the 100th episode means a lot less now that we're in the streaming era of things. The 100th episode back in the day before streaming meant that you was good as an actor. Like, not that you would never work again or could never work again, but you would be able to eat off of this because you would be able to go into syndication and you would eat forever off of this. Like, the people who were in Friends and, um, I'll just use Friends as an example. Like, they have been eating off of Friends as a series, Seinfeld, like all of those things. Um, they have been eating off of that for years and will continue to eat. Their kids will eat off of it, just because of how contracts were when they first did that. So the 100th episode thing is not as big of a deal as it used to be because it used to denote like you were able to really go into syndication and be in, everybody would be good. But now with streaming, people don't make residuals in the same way. So financially, it's not the same. I think it's just a great nod to it. Similar with like Sisters, they crossed 100 episodes, but Tyler, you shoot 24 episodes, 22 episodes of a show in 2 weeks. So like it's just a little bit different. Um, Erica, you said it. I never said stay because it's better than what she has. You didn't say that outright, but your arguments against me saying that they should break up was always, well, it's better than Linus, it's better than Linus, it's better than Linus. So while you never said those words exactly, your issues with my criticism has always been it's not Spencer. So all I can deduce from that is she should stay here because it's not that. Sorry, y'all. I think I'm losing my voice. I was on live for 5 hours earlier and recording videos in between here. Newly Natural 3 says, I can't believe we are comparing Diddy and Cassie to Jordan and Leila. I am not attempting to compare Diddy and Cassie to Jordan and Leila. I'm drawing upon a very real current moment that's happening to provide a more visceral visual to get you to understand a similarity. But that's not comparing the two circumstances. I literally said that they're not the same. So if you need me to re-say it, those two things are not the same. However, to say, why did you stay in a relationship if you were triggered? It's very similar, or at least sounds similar to me, to the people who are saying, why did you stay in a relationship when you were abused? Do with that what you will. Maybe that's why she didn't end it, because she's scared if she does, he won't be there when she's ready because Spencer wasn't. That could be a very real thing. It could be. Angela says, in trauma, you will fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or flop. And you talked about this in the video that I was talking about before with the breaking it down. Because we also talk about how this series leans heavily on this particular character. I think the flop will probably be, or the fawn maybe, is they will have sex very quickly. You will do one of those F's. You see the difference between Leila's trauma and Patience's trauma. Kofi says, I feel what you're saying. I agree. I didn't mean to come across as victim blaming. I'm trying to understand her mindset, if I were to be honest. I understand that you didn't mean it in that way, which is why I preface it and like try to give that disclaimer. But that's what it sounds like. And y'all could tell me, like, if you're a woman and you feel like it don't sound like that to you, then offer up a counterpoint that kind of unpacks it in a way that will support it. But for me, that's what it sounds like. And me drawing upon experiences, very real experiences, very sometimes life-threatening circumstances, very mentally strenuous, emotionally strenuous, traumatic circumstances in relationships that weren't necessarily the thing, but I ain't know no damn better. But I stayed. And I still love this person to this day. Like, will never not love this person. So I think it's just a little bit more. I even see like examples of men who get mistreated in relationships and they still stay. And there's countless reasons of why they're there. It's not just a switch that flips off of like, oh, she hit me, so I'm leaving her now. Or, oh, she disrespects me constantly, I'm leaving her now. I think, I don't know, that question is just, but it's good to talk about it because some people don't see it like that, and some people will say it and not understand all that comes with it. And it takes it takes a space like this to actually converse about it to get, better understanding or visibility into it. Can somebody explain the thrown out ring camera footage to me? Child's arbitrary. It's arbitrary. They said something about the damn police did something in chain of command, as if it was like if you could manipulate the damn footage coming from the like, girl, we can't explain it to you because it don't make no damn sense. We literally cannot explain it to you. The CW about to shut down. Where you see that at? Where's Coach Kenny at? After 2 years, yes. And asking him if he loves Simone more, why does that have to be love her more? Loving someone new shouldn't be the same as your last love. Sorry, we didn't talk about these shouldas, honey. We didn't talk about these shouldas. And it's not her, maybe her best moment, but that's real. You ain't never. Child. I think this is why I'm a screenwriter, because I can go to previous lives very easily. Like I can remember it like it was yesterday. I can feel it if I call upon it. Oh, actually, maybe that's also why I act. I can really call upon certain experiences that I have, and I can remember vividly the space that I was in emotionally and mentally when I asked the nigga if he loved me more than so and so. Wild. Wild behavior, but I did it. And I wasn't even in the space that Leila is in reference to being triggered and like going back down memory lane and like using this light therapy to try to access certain covered up and messed experiences that draw upon a very emotional visceral reaction to her. Like I was just insecure. I was just very insecure. And I asked. So maybe that's just a thing. If you always felt like you was that girl and you ain't never wondered or never asked, then that's cool. I love that for you. I have been a girl who was asked. And I could totally understand how she asked this. Well, I didn't understand how she didn't ask it before, but I understand how she asked it now and the circumstances that they give us. I am going to open up a Discord. Because Antonio, if you are okay with it, I would love to unpack some things that you said. Let me know in the chat before I like. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But going back to the, because I want to like discuss why it's not a problem him asking, but it's like, it just have a little tinge to it. It have a little asterisk for me, and part of it. Let me give you a chance to let me know if you want to go on, get into Discord. Um, if this Bolivia situation is not brought up, says Kimberly Felder, then that's so unrealistic. I'm sure it still affects her in some way. Child. It's only weird that she is just now asking these questions after agreeing to marry him. Hello. Leila said you aren't my dad. You look at me like that. Micah says one thing that confused me was she said her dad didn't know how to help her mom, and we all see Jordan doesn't know how to help her, but then said that Jordan isn't like her dad. It's given 1 + 1 = 4. I think also part of this is like, the thing about it is there's a certain level to this particular crises in life that nobody can help you with. So no matter how well intentioned, no matter how deep the love goes, there is only but so much that the people who love you can do, because this is 100% a thing that you got to help yourself through. Hey, Bucket with your girl. Welcome in, boo. Hey, Mrs. Science. Welcome in, honey. Are we going to talk about. Wait. Are we going to talk about season 3 of All American Homecoming? What news dropped today? The Lawrence Report. I have a homecoming trailer reaction I have to put out after this. I recorded that today. Um, but I wasn't planning on talking about homecoming on here. Aside from like Layla bringing up Simone, Mrs. Science, not you choosing violence. Come on, Layla, run back to Spencer. Child, now you gonna get my shut down. One of the reasons why I don't care for the relationship red flags. Woo. How is I love you an answer? Everyone knows he loves her, but he loves Simone too. I thought it said that Homecoming might be getting canceled, like it's on the cusp. I don't think that they announced it. They canceled Walker today, but Homecoming is apparently on the cusp. But they haven't announced it about Homecoming. I think that they would be foolish, even if they are canceling Homecoming. They will be foolish to announce it before the series premieres, before the season premieres, because nobody's gonna watch it. Yeah, potential cancellation, but they ain't announced it. Walker is definitely canceled. All right, I'm going to open up Discord because some of this we got to discuss, and I'm trying to read as much as I can, but y'all got a lot to say. So give me 2 seconds. If you're not in the Discord, get your behinds there. Um, but so that I can manage this, join the live chat waiting room so I can bring you guys in one at a time. Um, because I don't want this to get too crazy. But if you want to come on camera and chat with your girl, join the Discord live chat waiting room, and then I'll pull you in as you guys come in, on a first come first serve basis. Ooh, not headed to the Discord. See y'all later. Lawrence Reward, you gotta keep it open so I can get these numbers, honey. Don't be well. Also, we don't want no echo, so do what you gotta do, child. Do what you gotta do. But also inside the Discord, just so you know, you might not be able to see everything. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna turn my camera on because I don't want to overpower my computer. Um, but Antonio, the part about Jordan asking the question, I think that you have very intentional questions and dialogues around the Jordan character that's rooted in a genuine, like, see the best in him that I think enjoys a stretch. But I appreciate I appreciate. And then when talking to you, because we have a friendship, because like there's a certain level of trust that I know, aside from certain things that come with your malehood, I know that you again are intentional and careful and thoughtful. So I'm able to be a little bit more open, a little bit like I'm just able to allow a little bit more, I think, in conversation with you around certain things that could be touchy because I don't need to have a defense with you. So that's what I'm talking about in reference to like engaging in conversation around the Jordan part specifically. But anybody can join the Discord, y'all, if y'all just want to sound off and like you have a lot to say, but want to say it instead of typing it. I'm just putting this in so I can hear when y'all actually come into Discord, y'all. Chat. Yes, Kofi, the Discord is open. Go into the live chatting room, and then I'll pull you into the other room once I see you pop up there. Um. Oh wow. Oh, let me fix this while we're doing that. Why am I always half off the damn? Okay. Child. Okay. That's better. Um. When Homecoming comes on, everyone's gonna see why Jordan is pushing Layla the way that he is. Simone is with Damon, it's really gonna trigger him. Hmm, I'm confused. Do we get a crossover between the two shows? Apparently, I heard that, but I don't know that for sure. Um, girl, they need the link. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Dominic. Child, my bad. I'm like assuming everybody has all gotten into the damn Discord. Child, my bad. Okay, let me do this one thing so I can make sure. Okay, y'all might be hearing an echo. Bear with me. Bear with me. Y'all don't have to come on camera, but you can if you want to. Let me pull you in here. Agent 24, I need you to identify yourself because I don't trust it. I get trolled a lot. So without a real name or something I could call to, I can't actually pull you in, boo. I would love to, but just so we're clear. It's given that you are in this live right now and you might not be an agent of chaos, but I have experienced very untoward things, like a young man exposing himself. So if I can't like readily identify, I'm sorry, boo boo. Give me 1 second, y'all. I am coming. All right, let me. Oh crap! What? Kofi, can you hear me? Kofi, can you hear me? All right, I'm gonna move you back and go to Angela until you come back. Angela, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? No? Am I muted? Oh, okay. Yes, I can hear you. Can y'all hear her? Hopefully y'all can. I think y'all can. Hey, what are your thoughts?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. So I was thinking about Jordan's characteristics and, with the psychology background. Ooh, okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I was looking at Jordan's characteristics. Okay. So I was looking at okay. So I was looking at Jordan's characteristics. Oh,
Is it echoing for you or?
it is. Did it stop?
It doesn't. It's not echoing for me. I just hear you pausing.
Okay. So you can hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay. All right. So I was looking at Jordan's characteristics, and these are the things that I was thinking about with him. He needs admiration.
Mm-hmm.
He lacks empathy. He expects to be recognized as a superior without equivalent achievements. He's preoccupied with fantasy of unlimited success or ideal of love. He believes he's special and unique and only can be understood by special or higher status people. He
Mm.
has a sense of entitlement. He takes advantage of others to achieve his own goals. He lacks empathy. He's often envious of others and he shows haughty behaviors. And so, with those characteristics in psychology, that would be a narcissistic personality disorder. Okay. So, with that, along with somebody who has major depressive disorder, those two just don't go well together.
Mm.
And so, when I think about trauma, a lot of times we think about trauma as, oh, somebody was sexually abused or, all the bad stuff. But we don't always think about the smaller traumas,
Mm-hmm.
like somebody leaving or somebody dying, the grief aspect of it,
Yep.
right? Or just having that emotional abuse because you can't see emotional abuse.
Yep.
You can see physical, but you can't see emotional. And so I think that's what is hard for a lot of individuals to see why Jordan and Layla may not be the best fit right now. I'm not going to say ever, but right now, they're not two whole people to be in a relationship.
I think I love your insight so much. And when you say the little traumas, what jumped out for me honestly is I think I would consider myself one of those people as well. Even now, just having a little bit of hindsight and being able to spot things when I look back in real time, right? I recently feel like I have only been able to recognize certain deficits or little traumas, but because they were getting addressed in another way. So, we all have issues with it, like our parents, or maybe we don't. I have had issues with my parents growing up, but we're in a really great place in my adulthood where they have now become friends to a certain extent. And I'm showing up for them in their lives in a certain way where I feel like I'm filling a void. And then they have addressed very real concerns that I have had about how they are not or are showing up in my life. So one thing that my dad did, and it almost knocked the wind out of me. And y'all can tell me if it seems like it's trivial, whatever. But to me, this is a great example of how we don't actually register the little things, like you're saying, the grief. Or sometimes when we will mask some trauma as just simply disappointment, when like no, it's like something that actually hit you and hurt you in a deep way that actually affected you, but we kind of brushed off as disappointment. So I try to every month, but I don't do it every month. I try to take these 3 days where I go silent and I do like technological detox. I am only reading and like grounded and like at the park. I go on vocal rest and I don't answer my phone or any of these things. And right now, I am working on getting a house and doing a bunch of things with my mom and helping my mom get a new house and all that other kind of stuff. So it's a bunch of things going on. And she was about to, I guess, do something in reference to getting a new house without telling y'all too much. And it happened to be going on. She happened to find one and like was trying to place a put an offer in um while I was on my little detox. So she sends me this emergency message and I just happened to look at my phone when I typically will have my phone off at that time. And I loop my father in because he does a lot of business things with me or whatever in the real estate part or whatever. And he literally texted me back and was like, well, can't this wait? You are on your silent thing. And when I tell you, I was like taken aback and I was about to cry because my father is the person who is very chaotic. He call you and he wants something and needs something done. Your ass better drop what you're doing and do it now. So for him to actually honor the boundary that I created in this moment and like, yo, your mama can wait. You're doing your little 72 hours of like, you need to regroup and you need to whatever, whatever. We can deal with this. It's only 24 hours left. I was just like, so taken aback. And that is one of the things that helped put into perspective in most recent months of like how many times we might be experiencing little traumas and don't know it. And I only was able to identify it because I was able to identify when I felt like my father stopped doing what was natural to him and like really fully respected a boundary that I had, respected something I was setting up for my life, because he also kind of looks at me like, oh, Erica's the hippy dippy girl that always wants to talk about shit and I ain't got time for that. Like my father is very about work and like Caribbean as fuck, right? So for him to say that, it just hit me. Would you think that that's like a good example of what you're saying?
Yes, it is. And a lot of people don't recognize that. And even like boundaries, people understand boundaries. They may not like them, but they understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at Jordan, Jordan has done like a 180 in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like he's gonna let her go. That wasn't what he was talking about last week or the week before. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's like he's gonna tell Layla what she wants to hear because he wants to appease her.
that's how I
Because
feel.
look, he's getting something out of the deal, right?
I feel that.
And so she's that special person who he probably puts on a pedestal unlike everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think sometimes we get caught up in, oh, these people are so cute together, or they seem like a great fit because they were able to communicate and they were able to talk. Well, again, we talked about this either the last live or a couple of lives ago. You meet people's representative,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think when you look at the individuals who have been together, I'd say longer would be Spencer and um Olivia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like in the beginning they were great as friends, right? But this relationship situation, communications still aren't great. So, like, Spencer said something to me that just got under my skin more than anything in this world. And he was giving props to Olivia for talking things out with him and doing more than what she did. And if you've noticed, now that Olivia is with Spencer, she doesn't try to be the friend that she was before they started dating.
Mm.
And he's seeing her representative of who she used to be, not current person now. When I
Mm.
also look at Olivia, she irks me. She irked me in this episode because that 25-page book that she wrote, right? She in the beginning, she was like, oh, it's missing something. I couldn't meet the deadline, blah, blah, blah. It's always about her. And then she comes back and says at the end, well, nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be changed. It's just right. I want to share my dad with the world. You don't know your daddy. So if you don't know your daddy, how you going to share him with somebody?
Ah, child, that's a whole other thing. Kofi, I'm putting you in now. Antonio, I saw that you came in. Come back because I think that Angela touched upon
It's just
what I
right.
wanted to go into in reference to your comment, Antonio, in reference to like some of it is like good when you hear it, but like Jordan does give, he's gonna say whatever he needs to say to get what he wants. And if he wants to seem like the hero or he wants to feel like the hero, and in this moment now he's like, okay, we need to separate, cool, cool, cool. He's only doing that to feed that particular part of him because this was not an option an episode ago. It damn sure wasn't an option 2 episodes ago. It for sure was, like, you get what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I would want to discuss. But I brought Kofi in as well because I think that he's going to want to chime in. Kofi, can you hear me? Kofi?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, Kofi. It might be a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. And I just plugged Antonio in as well. Come on here with this profile picture.
What's up?
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Um, Honestly, I just think that. I mean, I got what you were saying. I just. Can you hear me?
Yes. And I just plugged Antonio. I think it's giving an echo because
Picture.
you are in both. Antonio, you want to chime in while Kofi gets it together?
I got what you were saying. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Kofi, you gotta silence your the
Yeah,
YouTube.
the YouTube one, yeah, because I was having that problem too, Kofi.
Oh yeah, see, that was probably what it was because I couldn't hear anything. So, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
me too.
All right, that'll
All
work.
right, go ahead.
All right, I was just gonna say that you know, points were made, even though I don't see it that way, but I hear what you're saying. I don't know. It's just
In
maybe
reference to
you
what
can
points
explain it
exactly?
when you said that she might feel like she doesn't want to leave because of what she's experienced with Spencer. I mean, that's one point I didn't even really consider. So that's a good point on that. Whoever made that point, I don't know who that is, but they made that point. And I was like, I didn't really think about it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I want, I like this couple because I felt that they were good and for each other and whatnot. But I mean, now I'm at the point where I really don't care what happens because it's like a push and pull thing. It's like we high 1 minute, then we low, and then we high another minute. I don't know what to think anymore. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's 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 hard, man. But I'll give Jordan props. The moment he said, "Look, if you feel like you need to take some time away uh, and you know clear your head," he gave her that option. And unlike Spencer, I don't think he would. I think when he says he'll wait for her, he'd actually mean it. Because when they first got together, he was like he didn't want to get together because of the whole Simone thing, and he waited until she was ready. So I don't think he would. I don't think he would
Do you
pull a
think that
Spencer in that.
do you think that Spencer intentionally didn't wait for Layla?
Oh no, he did. It's just that
So does Jordan
you
have some
know
kind of command over the universe that's different than Spencer?
I do because unlike Jordan, he doesn't have another person that he's emotionally entangled with. That's
Yet,
why.
yet,
Oh
because
no,
he was
no,
not
it's
emotionally entangled with Layla until he
no.
was.
I mean, in the aspect of he said what he said. Spencer said what he said, and then that whole thing with Olivia happened. I don't see that with Jordan because, as far as I'm concerned, Jordan's not got any other person's attention other than Layla. So I generally think he would wait for her if she needed to take a step back.
I am so glad that you brought that up specifically because I haven't reiterated it that much, but I have mentioned that what happens when there's another girl that is more like that Jordan can service better or feels more impactful on their life and they're easier to deal with. The only thing that we know now is that we haven't been given one, but that's a very real thing. So you're saying that he won't actually not wait for Layla if they decide to go that route. And Spencer only did it because he was emotionally entangled with another person or got emotionally entangled shortly after. And I think that Jordan is just as capable of doing said thing. We just haven't been given a person yet, and that's a writer's choice. Not that he's not in a world where it could actually happen.
It's a fair point. I don't know. I gave him props for at least putting that option on the table, but like I said in the chat, she's the one who said she doesn't want to go anywhere. So I don't know what
Because she
I
don't
don't know
want her
what to think
life
of
to
that.
change as much as she can control it. I think we've been watching the theme of change play out, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to interject here about that because that's something that NK has actually
No,
spoken
it's
to in
cool.
interviews. But we Layla in I'm not Layla. Olivia and Spencer. Well, I didn't do this because I don't want us to change and I don't want us to be different. And like all these kids are running from change at the most pivotal moments of their lives where change is actually supposed to happen. I think that ultimately that's one of the biggest points of dissonance that's happening within the series is that these children are living out lives as if they're adults and that they've already surpassed the years of their lives when great change is actually going to happen when they're literally smack dab right in the middle of those particular moments and they need to stop fighting it.
That's a fair point. You know, I really need to. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens, man. I mean, that wasn't the only thing that caught my eye on this episode. The other thing was, I really appreciated the Billy letters,
Mm.
and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very even killed guy. I don't normally get emotional, but I gotta tell you, I shed a tear when I was watching Billy's scenes with Spencer and Olivia because it was like, damn, did y'all really have to make this choice of killing off Billy? I mean, he just fits so well.
He does.
It felt like old school All American, and I forever. I mean, Tay said he wanted to leave, so I can't really fault him for that creative choice. But that could have been a. I don't know, man. I still that decision still bothers me to this day.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
Yeah. So yeah, but overall, solid episode. Probably the best of season 6 so far. So that's
I
my
would
opinion
agree.
on it.
I would definitely agree. Antonio, what were you about to say?
Sorry. Okay. I wasn't about to say anything specifically. I was just you said you wanted to bring up something about Jordan. I didn't hear most of Angela's point because I was trying to get my audio right.
Ah, got So she kind of just started to touch on the whole like Jordan is going to say whatever he needs to say to get what he particularly wants. So when it's and correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm misquoting Angela, please. Um, it's hard to just fully give yourself to the idea that he's saying the right things now and he fully gets it and he's not being driven by an underlying
Well,
narcissistic thing that he has going on with him. Um,
why is that though?
because his behavior has not actually shown genuine intentions around this. A lot of the decisions that he makes,
But
even when he says it's for somebody else, it ultimately winds up serving him.
well,
And
but
the
that's
question
everybody.
specifically, because you asked why was it a problem for him to ask if it was okay for him to keep watching a podcast or did she want to talk, it wasn't necessarily a problem for me, but even the need to like ask that just lets me know exactly how unaligned and how much he really has no idea what to do and what's right. So it feels like, oh, I should maybe ask about this and I really want to keep watching this podcast, but I'm gonna ask about it because that's what I should do versus what he feels naturally and specifically called to do because he's just so equally yoked with his partner, if that makes sense.
I don't I don't see what's wrong with doing what you think you should do, especially when you're trying to change your behavior. If
It's
I'm
But
trying
not
to
I don't.
break a
necess-
habit,
it's not necessarily
if I'm trying
something
to
is
break a habit,
wrong with you doing what you should do. I think that there's only an
that's
issue
what it
with
sounds like.
wait, what you say?
I said that's what it sounds like.
I think it's only something wrong with doing what you should do if you're only doing it because you should do it. Now, if you're doing what you should do because you're trying to now match your actions with the person that you want to be, then that's completely different. And I still think that that dialogue would not come out of the mouth of a person who was trying to be mindful of their own deficit and make the adjustment.
I feel like it's the level that we can expect from a person like Jordan because he's not emotionally evolved enough to have a more sophisticated version of that.
Right. And we talked about this last week when I said Jordan can be doing the best that he can, and the best could not be enough because even along the
Right.
way, because
Oh, I'm
as you're
glad you
doing
brought
your
that up.
best, there are additional things that are like little digs. Like I'm not Layla, but I imagine myself like if I was in that circumstance, I would feel like she just
Hmm.
had a moment where she asks like, "Are you ever going to get tired of taking care of me?" If I get in the like the moment I get in the bed and that's what you say, I'm gonna feel like that's more of that of like, oh shit, like I basically he wants to do this other thing, but he got to think about me, and it's such a chore. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's not his fault. That would be a her thing.
It's not saying that it's a his fault type of thing, but I'm saying that she winds up suffering emotionally and mentally because of the lack that he has, which to me points to that they're actually misaligned and they should not actually be in a circumstance together, period, because then he wouldn't have to worry about stretching beyond his capacity and she wouldn't have to worry about tiptoeing and being her full self because it's too much for the person who can't actually handle it.
It just
And
seems like, sorry.
No, go for it. Go
oh,
for it.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh, uh, I, I say it seems
It's
like
cutting out, Antonio, for me.
from like the beginning.
Can you start over?
Hey man,
Can you start over?
uh, I was saying it seems like, and is that better?
Yes.
Okay. It seemed like in the beginning of the season, Jordan wasn't doing enough to pay attention to what was really bothering her or what was really going on with her. And then now that he is, it seems like the way that he's going about it, even though the way we've been presented to it from the writers is that they're telling us to see it as it is being genuine, but it's not coming across that way.
But Antonio, I think if it was genuine, he wouldn't have made changes to act like he was going to see about her after his sister and Spencer said something to him. Because when you look at Layla's personality, she's a go getter. She doesn't need anybody to hold her hand,
Hmm.
nobody to tell her what to do. She,
Why?
Kofi, mute, please.
What's the
so,
matter, Alexis? Wait, I thought.
Go ahead.
okay. So, with that being said, he's looking up EMDR, right? He's gone and looked at all these things. And I thought it was interesting that they didn't mention what EMDR was until Jordan said something. But again, it was still a prompt that he
Hmm.
wouldn't have known that had he not been told to go and do the research in trying to help her. So the thing is, right now, she's having mental health issues. What's going to happen when she has other issues
Hmm.
and his sister and Spencer are not there to give him the answers? You see what I'm saying? Does he love her enough to
Yeah.
try to be the best version of himself that he can be?
And going back to the specific bedroom moment, right? Like if I had to, because I didn't think about this until you brought this up. I am like, okay, what
I
would I rather him have
feel
done for
like
me to
he
feel like
definitely
it was
he's
genuine?
still been trying. Yeah, because
Go ahead.
it it seems like even though he was trying and he failed, he still tried. So how long are we gonna hold a fuck? No matter what he does, it's gonna be wrong. So
But it's not
they
no
should
matter
just
what
break
he
up and
does.
not be together at all.
It's not no matter what he does. It's just that this every step that he takes while she's literally in the midst of a mental health crisis is important. There is no room for error, and you could be trying all you want, but if trying is not actually hitting a mark and this is game time, then you still lose. So for me, like again, I'm not demonizing him for asking the question. It just again validated to me my perspective, and like he is out of his depths when it comes to this girl, because in the spaces that you can protect and provide for her, you're not even able to do that fully with your chest and with confidence because you actually don't know what you're doing. So he asked that question because he needed that affirmation, but she's in a space right now where she's still trying to figure out a lot of things and she has a lot of questions. So you ain't got the answer of, oh, do I love Simone more or whatever, all of that stuff that happened before. You could have led with putting the iPad away and giving her all your attention when she got into bed because you wanted her to understand that she is the priority, and let her tell you, oh no, what are you watching, like you could open the door in that way. I think the kirkness and the specificity of like, can I watch this, or do you actually want to talk about that, it positions it in a way of like a thing on the to-do list that doesn't actually, if you're the person, doesn't actually make you feel cared for or thought of in a way that a man might hope that just acknowledging it would. And this is not trying to just say that he's going to be wrong regardless. It's just that she's literally going through something right now. And because he doesn't have the previous knowledge or the previous lived experiences to make certain steps, all of his steps seem to be wrong because they are still causing harm within the circumstances of her crisis that she's experiencing now, which just takes me back to they actually don't need to be together because she doesn't actually have the time for him to catch up and still keep taking on all of the things. Like, she was able to now articulate that the engagement is a trigger for her, but that trigger did not get exasperated until Bridezilla Jordan has arrived and like created this whole thing. And now he's having to work backwards and like undo all of the hurt and trauma that he's inflicted upon her. And basically what y'all are wanting to protect the ideal of them staying together and like giving Jordan a chance and fighting for this man is for her to stay in the relationship and still have to experience whatever minor major hurts and traumas are exacted upon her as he fumbles about to figure it out. When you could cut your losses.
No,
Go ahead.
uh, I was gonna say I don't really care whether they stay together or not. My my whole thing is, as a person who has been involved with someone with mental illness, there is a point where there's nothing that you can do for your partner. And I mean, when it comes to helping them work through specific issues. But the things that you can do are things that I feel like Jordan is trying to do. Does that make sense?
So,
Yes, but
Antonio,
I'm
with
just
that
saying
one,
it's
I
not
would
enough.
disagree. For me, I would say I would disagree because even if your person has mental health issues, what you can do is be there and show up and not add extra stress. To just being a listening ear,
You don't think he's showing up?
no. And I'm going to tell you why. He showed twice of his selfishness. The first time was when she came over there to the house and she was looking real sad and pitiful, right? And he's talking about, well, I hadn't opened my letter yet. He didn't even ask her, how are you doing?
And that was a lie, y'all.
Why are you looking
That was
sad?
a lie also. I want to go ahead and note that because I don't know why they had him do that.
And I don't either. And it didn't make sense to me. So he didn't make up for that the first time. And then the second issue was when they were in bed. He starts back up.
Hmm.
He always inserts himself first. Layla, to me, does not have a place where she can fall and be safe with
Hmm.
Jordan. And that scares me.
Even though like
Because
her leading
even
with
if
like she I don't know the exact word, somebody said in the chat earlier, but when she said that she was like unearthing some issues around her mother's death and he said, you don't want to marry me, it's like,
Mhm.
sir, can she finish?
Hmm.
And it's not like I'm not saying he's doing any of it with
But that's
malicious
basically what
intent
she
at
was saying,
all.
though.
Huh?
That's basically what she was saying, though. He wasn't wrong.
And that's where I feel like she fawns after him because she's trying to please him at all costs without hurting his feelings. You see what I'm saying? Like
Child. Okay,
when
I'm
the
still on the
therapist
he's not wrong part.
do what?
I'm still on the he's
She
not
doesn't
wrong
want to
part.
marry
Antonio
him.
just said
That's
he's
not
not
wrong.
wrong.
She doesn't want to marry him. That's not wrong.
It's not about him. And that's the T. We have been saying this, I feel like, for the
But
last
then
two lives, Antonio. I literally said, do you want to be wrong or do you want to, I mean, do you want to be right or do you want to be in relationship? You could be correct all day, but if you being correct don't actually service what you want as the overall goal within the relationship, then what benefit is it that you're actually right about it? In this moment, that's what she's unearthing. She didn't even really understand this. The therapist is having to make her
because
go
it
back
was
in time and
the
think
point of
about memories that she has suppressed
conversation that
due to mental
you
trauma
brought
that she has
up first.
experienced. Hold on, Antonio. Um, the
Mhm.
therapist is unearthing a lot of these things for her. So she's arriving at a lot of things in real time, and just happens to, because she committed to being open and honest with him, decide to run tell him immediately because that's what she had recently agreed to, and he had thrown a fit about not doing what she had said she was going to do. So to even be like he's not wrong, though, that particular moment, it was not about that. And that let the audience know, but me know,
But
where his mind is, which is not on her, which it should be, which is what I think is Angela's point.
Because he's selfish.
but didn't she bring that up first?
You're breaking
That was
up.
like the
Didn't she
first
do
thing she
what?
said about the marriage. I
Right, but
said,
that's
didn't
what
she
she was saying.
bring that up first?
Well, he talked about the therapist, and if the therapist is what's going to have her popping up on him, then he was very excited, and she started to say what happened at the therapist. I believe that Jordan's the first person that said something about therapy.
He did. Because he had mentioned about 5 days
No,
a
I'm
week or
saying she
something.
brought up the marriage thing first. Yeah.
I'm going to go look, child. Even this feels very like missing the
So,
point, but you know.
okay, so
Y'all can still talk. I'm just looking. I'm scrubbing the episode.
so Kofi, let me ask you this, because maybe
That's
it's me.
Antonio. Um,
Oh,
Kofi, you can
oh, that
unmute.
was
I just had to
Antonio.
mute it because your people were talking. Is it letting you unmute
No,
yourself?
that was Kofi that was
Sorry,
talking.
sorry. So, what is your
Yeah.
definition? What's
Oh, my
your
bad.
definition of selfish?
Oh, you don't care about anybody but yourself. Like you're not thinking about her feelings. You're thinking about your own
That's
feelings.
better.
Okay,
What?
so with your definition of selfish, did
Yeah.
Jordan seem to deal with any of those behaviors before
Hi.
he
Hi.
said, I'll let you
I spoke
go
to Liv and she said that.
and we don't have
Oh,
to
I
get
didn't do my
married?
head better. What? Nothing. You first. What
Let
time
me
is it?
see.
She's staying with
The
my sister and
first
that you have to be
time.
trust yourself. So
Okay. I
that
mean,
In
means
this
fair.
me.
episode, we'll just keep it this
Of course
episode.
I do. Of course I
How
do.
you
Okay.
describe
You know, it's
selfishness.
you showing
In
up.
this
This should
episode,
not go
did
very
you
fast
see
in
any
your
of those behaviors that you have expressed before we got to him saying he would let her go?
Maybe the one comment he made about that you don't want to get married, that was probably him thinking about himself. But I think, honestly, I can't really fault him for that because that was probably the one thing that was probably coming to his mind when she was explaining to him what she discovered in therapy.
Okay, real quick because I found it. I'm gonna. Y'all might not be able to hear it in here, but they'll be able to hear it in the live. And if y'all are just tuning in, we are live on Discord. Some of the people that you hear speaking right now are Kofi, Angela, and Antonio, our lovely moderator. And we're unpacking Jordan and Leila in this episode. If you want to add to the conversation or you have thoughts, you can jump in the chat and you can type them out because I am still reading those messages. But you can also join the live chatting waiting room and I will pull you in once I see you guys pop up. But the part we're at is where this is 21 minutes in and 45 seconds. Layla shows up at the beach house. She says, I spoke to
I
Liv.
didn't
Jordan says, I didn't read my letter.
read my dad's letter.
Don't know why. I don't understand why he had to lie at all because he's literally the scene prior, 2 scenes prior, reading the letter. But okay. From
You
there,
first.
she's like, what? And he's like, you go first. What did you say? And then she says that Liv said that you were at the beach house or that she was going to Crenshaw so that you would be at the beach house by yourself. So I decided to pop up. Jordan says, well, if you, well, let me actually like listen.
Of course I do. Of course I do. You know, if you show up is from going to therapy, I say you go 5 times a week.
He said, if you show up, which is a little low because I got a bunch of other things in mind, but if you show up here just by going to therapy, I want you to go 5 times a week. So he brings up therapy or mentions therapy first, just so we clear.
So when I hear that, that to me feels like he's being selfish. Now, Erica, what do you think?
What, that him bringing up Harry?
Him making it about him.
I didn't think about that
I
particular
don't feel like
part,
he
but
made it about him.
I can see that was the least of my concerns. But I see what you're saying. Like, but also, and this is where I struggle, but I really appreciate the men that actually decide to converse with me in this way. So shout out to Kofi and shout out to Antonio, because I know that it's not easy. This also to me is tied to the patriarchy. It's tied to how a lot of men look at things. Like, I would imagine that if I'm not in a relationship currently, but like going back to my previous relationships, anytime I popped up on my man, especially in my 20s, child, them niggas doesn't. But like if I popped up on them, even if I was looking sad, like Layla progressively visually got sadder as she, was opening up. But they would think it's about them. Like, you're popping up on me for me. And that could be some level of narcissism. I'm not saying that Jordan don't have it, but I think also part of it is just like how men are socialized. And I think that it also comes out in like Kofi and Antonio's resistance to fully be able to see it. Cause it's like this is really normal and like this is what the good guy would do. And specifically for a character or a person like Leila in a current mental health crisis where the norm could still exasperate what's happening within her, I think it's hard for y'all to actually like register that fully. Yeah, I think that's the word I want to use.
Hmm.
I'm not really sure how to respond to
Yeah,
that.
me too.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I don't know either because I didn't really ask the question. But like for real, like him saying like if you gonna go to therapy and that's gonna get you to pop up on me, then I want you to go 5 days a week. That is less concerning for me than the delay in him
Yeah, I thought that
clocking.
was like a joke to break the tension.
Mm-hmm.
See,
yeah,
Cool.
for
that's
me,
kind of how I
that would
saw
make
it.
me angry.
That's kind of how I saw it too. Maybe
Oh,
just a
really?
light move the mood because you could see the sadness in her eyes. So maybe he said that as like a icebreaker, trying to, you know, lighten the mood a little bit. You know.
Okay, I love this. I love this. So, what does lightening the mood do for you guys? Well, what would be
I
the
think
purpose of lighting? When do you need to lighten the mood?
I think he I
I'm
think
just saying in general,
he
not specifically Jordan here, but when do you guys use lightening the mood in life?
oh really when especially if I have to have a serious conversation with
Mhm.
somebody that is
It
personal,
breaks the
like I
tension
it
from when she came in from the session. Hello.
yeah. I think lightening the mood for me is when I know I'm about to have a very unpleasant conversation, so I try and, you know, ease into it by, making a joke here and just easing things out before we have to talk about something that's very unpleasant and can be triggering for some people. So that's how I look at lightening the mood.
Okay, Antonio, do you want to apply your real life experience, or do you want to just stick with what you said?
Oh, I mean, well, you know me, I'm all about the jokes. So, like, I feel like a lot of conversations I enter have humor in it somewhere at some point. And I guess, yeah, especially if I'm talking about something serious, like in conversations that we've had about like real life topics, I do kind of try to find a place to just bring everybody's spirits up in the conversation because I feel like it helps kind of keep everybody in tune with each other.
Hmm. Okay. Um, you feel like that's the only thing it does, keep everybody in tune with each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Kofi, you said that you use it when you know you're about to have a tough conversation with somebody. So would it be safe to say that you use lightening the mood as a tool to make yourself feel more comfortable before going into tough conversations?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair description.
So is it also fair to ask, could you see how sometimes, not all the times, because sometimes lightening the mood can be beneficial to people involved, but could you see how there could be moments where you are attempting to lighten the mood is about you and not fully considering the person that you're engaging in or engaging with?
I can see that point as well. That's some that I can't ignore fully. So yeah, that's a fair point too.
So to go to like Angela's point here, even if and I want to be very clear because Jordan is better in this episode, right? But I
Yeah,
really
because
hate the
he had
narrative
all this
around he
stuff.
can't do nothing right. And nothing is ever good enough when the point for me is that he's been out of his depth and they need to make decisions based off of that, and that is how he truly gets to a place where he can actually recalibrate and adjust and be the best man that he can possibly be for Layla without additional things. But to even come into this and like look at it in this way of like he's trying to lighten the mood because she's coming in feeling sad, he doesn't actually know, but he knows that she's coming from therapy. He doesn't actually know what's going on, so you're attempting to lighten the mood because you're uncomfortable with how she looks in the mood or the energy that she's coming in with, because you how can you actually lighten the mood for her if you actually don't even know what is actually wrong or what could be wrong. And I'm not saying that he's wrong for the potential choice, but that points to Angela's point of how you could be selfish. And as y'all were talking and I really thought about it and then I rewatched the scene, it brought up for me like how I don't believe that I know that men and women are socialized differently, but a lot of what I've developed in reference to emotional intelligence with my friends has come in my adult years because even my mama didn't teach me this. But I think about coming into to a room or to a space with my homegirl who might be distraught, and my first thought is not
Same.
actually to make her smile. I'm literally trying to figure out what is going on. I'm trying to pull as much information as possible without needing her to give me much, but still and then trying to tap and figure out like to get in where I fit in. And there might be a joke if I feel like she is like alluding to she wants her spirits to be lifted, but I'm also still very comfortable if she's at a very low point and she needs somebody to get in the damn ditch with her, I will get down in there and just sit with her. And for
And I'm
me, in
right there
reference to
with
what y'all,
you.
how y'all are talking about it, it feels like men don't think about that.
I mean, we do. It depends on like, especially. All right, actually let me make it a little personal. Especially when it comes to interacting with like women. Like, if you walk into a conversation with a girl and she's crying, yeah, of course you're not gonna jump straight into jokes. But if there aren't any like tears flying, or if they're quiet, or if you can just tell that something is off with them for a minute, yeah, I might throw a joke out there too. But if they're sitting there like emotionally distraught, then no, I'm not beating with the joke.
Okay. But do you understand how Angela is like seeing him as selfish based off of what we were given?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even clock that until I just had to go back and rewatch his uncomfortability as a whole in the episode, and like Layla unearthing certain things was really my focal point. Um, with this episode, so much of this
Yeah,
was
because
really
he's scared. That's why he's uncomfortable.
okay, which is valid. You know, I'm not saying he can't be scared.
Because, like you said, he doesn't know what she went through therapy, so he doesn't know where this conversation is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and even with him being scared, I would be even cooler with him just saying, Layla, you know what? This is a lot. This is how I'm feeling, but I'm here with you to affirm her. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're depressed,
Hmm.
you're at your lowest and you can be on that brink of wanting to unalive yourself. Okay. So when I hear jokes of, and it's not a joke for me, about me going to therapy 5 times a week, that's a trigger for me when I'm not in the best frame of mind. Because now it makes me feel like you think I'm crazy.
I can see that.
Even if he didn't mean it, like for me, the bad part, like I feel like he was really he said it because he wants to be the supportive partner, but the question of like, can I do what I want to do, or do I have to talk, or do you need me to talk to you right now? That would have hit me like a ton of bricks. When I tell you, I would have slid right on out of
Be
that bed and
to
just like silently
be
started packing
completely
my
honest,
shits.
that's
I'd have been
how
back to the Baker's mansion before he could
side
actually
tangent.
figure
To
out
be
what was going
completely
on.
honest,
Wait, what you say? I didn't hear you, Antonio. Antonio, can you hear me? Somebody was saying something, but I couldn't hear them. Was it
that's
Antonio or
how
Kofi?
most men feel about conversations with women in general. I said like that sentiment, yeah, that sentiment conversation with a woman.
You said that sentence. What?
That sentiment that you just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
that
Am I the only one that's cutting out for? Can y'all hear him?
No, I heard
a
sentiment.
lot of
Antonio is
men
cutting
feel
out, and I really want to
when
hear
they
what
go
you're
into
saying.
conversations with women.
You guys start over. I can't understand. It cut out. You said that sentiment.
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, the one you were talking about. How would you say? Can I do what I want, or do we have to talk about this now? That's what you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said that, funnily enough, that sentiment is how a lot of men feel when they go into conversations with women.
Exactly. And that could be fine enough for your relationship on a normal day. This is not a normal day. Which again just gives me proof Jordan cannot handle this. Cause if you can't, like, you said it nicely, but even if you can't put that away because she's like in a state, sir, mm-mm.
Yeah, but
I ain't
also,
gonna be able to do it.
how can you give somebody what they want if they don't tell you what they want? So if she wanted to talk about it and she doesn't verbalize it, then how
So
can you
it's
hold that
tricky,
against him?
right? Because part of this is like trying to give people what they want and be what they need. Cool, cool, cool. You can only do but so much if somebody is not articulating things. Cool. But I default to who I want to be in relationships with whoever, right? So not everything that I perceive about my loved
Mhm.
ones, they actually told me. A lot I've actually observed on my own. So my example in the bid circumstances, like if he wanted to lead with, and he didn't want to lead with, I really don't want to talk about this, but I will if I have to, then he would have just put the iPad away and let her be like, "Oh no, keep what are we watching? Can I watch it with you?" And open that up for her, but like position himself in that moment to change all his focus specifically to her in a way of even non-verbally affirming her and giving her all of his
Mhm.
attention. But if that's not what you intended to do or you wanted to do, then cool, don't do that. But if that is what you want, then do that. That wasn't Jordan's intention. He really wanted to watch this thing. So then also, if you really wanted to watch this thing, keep watching the thing. I would have much rather you did that versus positioning it as a question in that way to make sure that it's clear that you're aware of it and it's a to do. Does it make sense?
I'm with you on
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, it
I
makes
guess
sense.
it
Because
goes back
he could
down
have
to
kept
like
watching and put
that
his damn
goes
hand
down.
around her, and that would have been something. And if she was staring a damn hole in the side of his
I guess that
face, then I think he should have got the like nonverbal cues of like, oh, maybe she wants to talk about something, and then it could have went from
Oh,
there. But
yeah.
like the question immediately, as soon as she got in the bed in that way, it just was like, bruh,
I just want him to
I'd
stay
have
in the
been crying all the
ring.
way back home.
It
Sorry.
was like
I guess that brings
he
up the
had
question
diarrhea of the mouth. That's what it felt like.
of like,
Huh. Honestly, the whole thing was a little bit
hmm,
awkward, and this is just my hope for them moving forward. This is Kelvin the Optimist speaking. Okay,
Okay.
we haven't had much of that in here. I hope that she continues to search for what she needs to do to in order to feel, comfortable with whatever she's dealing with and being able to, continue with this relationship. And I hope for Jordan's sake, what he did in this episode, just continue to build on that. And if he does that, then they're gonna weather this storm and stand the rain. So that's that's kind of that's kind of where I'm at with it because
Real quick, Kofi, I'm really glad that you interjected because while you were talking earlier, I wrote down, can All American help audiences to process letting go and healthy breakups? Because it's very interesting to me
no.
people's attachment to
no,
the idea of them not actually breaking up.
no, I don't think so.
You don't think they can do it?
No, because we saw how it played out with Spencer and Olivia.
Nah, because they
We,
don't want to write it that way.
I mean, no, no. We are
They
in a
don't want to
ship.
write it that way.
We are in a ship. Um, obsessed fan base that we're dealing with here. I mean, any other show maybe, but not with this show.
That's
In an
unfortunately
ideal
a
world,
very
yes.
very big missed opportunity because they had a moment where they could actually do it and show a breakup that didn't have to happen within tension and within conflict. Um, but just because somebody else needed to focus more on themselves and like not only the writer's commitment to like keep them together at all costs, but even like I said, you hoping for them to stay together and to just figure it out. It's a very interesting thing to ponder on for me because I don't actually get it, but there's a lot of things in this world I don't get.
I mean, they just had Jordan lie for no reason, and you think they nah? Like, let's keep our expectations low for these people.
Yeah, we just got to be effing for real, man. You really think this show is going to do a good job of trying to write a healthy breakup?
I
Yeah,
mean,
good
Kofi,
luck.
it's given that
I
you
mean,
don't
they
actually want to see one.
no, it's not that I don't want to see one. It's just I don't think they have the ability to do that. That's completely different. That's where I'm at. I mean, look at how they even wrote Billy's death. That was probably the most nonsensical, you know, bunch of what I saw ever. Like they could have had him just die in a car accident, not freaking save, realize, oh, Jabari's still on the bus. Let me go and save him, and then not even try and attempt to jump off the bus. I would have preferred if he tried to jump and he fell. I would have much preferred that. So you expect me to believe that these writers are gonna write a healthy breakup? Come on now.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting how Layla kind of foreshadowed some stuff when she mentioned if about the behavior. If she didn't do something right, would he change? And then you see him with that coach, and the coach did something bad. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't like the coach anymore. I don't know if
Oh,
I could trust his wishy washy self.
It's cutting out Antonio.
And
well,
maybe I'm in left field the way I see things, but
I did think on that for them to have him go on that podcast and basically just out of spite and big up Coach Kenny. Like that was weird that they wrote that in there that way.
because that's who he is. That's why I say
Oh.
he's selfish.
And they're going
No, I'm
by the
talking about
original
like
scenes where
narratively
Coach.
speaking from the writer's perception. I was like, I don't understand why they did that. Like they didn't really have to.
They definitely didn't have to in
Think
this particular episode. I also don't think that we needed
You
both. I don't think that
you're
we needed
right.
him
That's
confronting
what I'm
Coach
saying.
Mack and him going on the podcast. Like he could have did one or the
Right.
other.
Agreed. I was like, the football aspect didn't fit the
but it fit to me. And you want to know
relationship
why it
aspect
fit
of
for
the
me?
episode.
Antonio, you started cutting out. I think she thought you were finished.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was yeah. I want to hear.
Oh, so it's talking to me. I see it as love. So the only thing that Jordan loves outside of Layla is possibly football, right? And
Right.
so to me, it shows how he really is. How he was acting on that podcast is his true
Hmm.
intentions. And that's how he rolls. And Layla knows how he rolls. And from the beginning of the episode, she didn't want that therapist saying anything to her about her relationship. She was trying to cut that woman off. Oh, you can't talk about my relationship. I'll do anything I'll do anything other than discuss my relationship. She knows her relationship is off kilter. She knows how Jordan really is. But she is trying to hold on and And sometimes it's the fear of losing someone that you semi trust, but you just can't let go of. And it feels like it's the handwriting is more and more on the wall for me every week with this
Mm.
relationship.
See,
I
I
mean,
don't
even
want
as we
it to
like think
be.
about that, right? Like Layla is technically a part of the vortex, but Jordan has been her
She don't really hang
closest,
out with them.
huh?
She don't really hang out with them for real.
Jordan is her closest like grounding point to the actual vortex because Patience like they have their relationship and they're cool, but she Patience doesn't anchor her into the vortex the way that Jordan actually does. So she loses
Right.
Jordan. She needs to leave the Baker house because you gonna stay there after you done broke my son's heart. Nobody gives a damn about your abandonment issues and your daddy issues. Take your ass back to your own mansion. What friends do she have? Last time she had a friend outside
Wait,
the damn
Nobody.
vortex, they gave her Carrie.
wait a minute.
uh,
Who would kick her out of the house, though? Nobody would kick her out of the house, right?
Go on a podcast. Ash
Mm.
Jordan is letting Layla stay in the Baker Mansion once she breaks his heart rent free, like, and not rent free in reference to money, but like peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
he probably would. But she would be the one to leave
Yeah.
Child, no,
under her own accord.
Well, man, let's give my man some credit. You don't
no,
think he
Kofi,
would be able to handle it?
no, Kofi. I'm not doing it.
No.
He would want her to stay there, but she wouldn't
If
want
he
to
if
stay.
he if he did not bother her ass out of there, it would only be because of optics, not because of his moral code.
She wouldn't even fool with Spencer in the baker's house or at the beach house. So you telling me that he done bumped nasties with Layla and he would give her a pass? That's what y'all telling me.
Yeah.
Well, he ain't kick Spencer out either.
He wasn't fooling with Spencer, and he couldn't get rid of Spencer because Spencer is attached to Olivia. And you know everybody loves Spencer. Layla don't have that connection with them people like that.
I
Hmm.
mean,
Not
she used
like
to have it
Spencer.
with Spencer. She used to have it with Spencer, and then, well, we see how that played out. Look, honestly, I think this is her last chance. I mean, well, not her last chance, but we saw how her other two relationships played out. That's probably why she's
What?
holding
I
onto
did
it
not
so
know that.
hard.
Kofi, I'm gonna need you to rewind because what in the hell?
What do you mean?
I'm gonna let you cook. I'm gonna let you cook. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. We got to keep it real,
A
okay? Like,
last
let's
chance?
well, not last chance, but like her third chance at trying again. Like, because if we're gonna be real about it, okay, that relationship with Asher didn't work because Asher was and her were not equally yoked. Number one, could have worked with Spencer, but my man's
Timing broke Spencer and Layla. Go ahead.
well, that and he was in love with Olivia. It's
No,
just that's the
no.
facts.
Mm-mm,
That is not what broke
That
them
is
up
the
at first.
mm-mm.
facts.
That is not
I
what broke
don't
them up
feel
at
it that
first.
way.
Yes, it
It
is.
is
I don't
not
care.
what broke them up at first. That might have been what broke him
I
up the
didn't
second
tell
time,
him
but
to
that
do
is not what
that.
broke him up the first time.
The first time that
The
was on
first
her.
time
She
he
did.
broke up with her
She
because
had
she
a
was going
mental
through mental health
breakdown.
things that she didn't even understand, and he understood that he needed to not put an additional pressure on her of a damn relationship, so he decided to bow the hell out.
Well, hold on. She
Which is
did.
what you
He
want
did.
Jordan to do.
Wait. Can we pause here? She broke
Kofi,
up with him.
you gotta clean it
He
up
didn't
quick, cause
break up
I'm not
with
Oh,
her.
liking you burning the eggs, son. You burning the
He
eggs
oh,
right
she
now.
she broke
Kofi,
up with
wait,
him. She didn't break. He didn't break up with her.
wait. No, no, no. The first time. This is what
That's
I
what I'm
remember.
saying.
The
The
My
first
first
whole
time.
time.
point, Kofi, was
No,
to
the first
say
time
that she
she
could be
had
staying
that
in this
mental.
relationship because the moment that she leaves it, her entire world gets upended in a way that she has no idea and no control over, which could be a very interesting selling point to stay amongst the devil and the toxicity that you know. Now you done gone off onto a whole other end and decided to relish her ass off to Spencer land because the third nigga might not be working out. If one don't work, get another one. Have you not heard the TikTok now? If that
And not
don't
only
work, go
that,
get two niggas. What are we talking about, Kofi?
Okay, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y- y'all got it. It's
Erica,
a
if you think
y'all
about
got.
it, the other two
I'm
guys
sorry,
that
that
she
part
had
just
been
sent me.
talking
I'm
to,
sorry, Kofi. I didn't let you finish your point, but the this is her last chance, and
I
then the
didn't mean it
categorically
like
going
that.
through her
I meant
relationships.
I said when I misspoke. I didn't mean last chance, but this is her like third chance at trying to have something that's solid and is real, man. Because the other two relationships have failed, and it's not her fault. It just wasn't meant to be. But I honestly think this one could work. Okay, that's why I'm probably fighting for it so hard because I don't like her. She's probably had the worst luck when it comes to relationships. Like I feel so bad for her. I really do because she find ideally her ideal partner was Spencer, but he's already spoken for. So it's like, what do you do at that point? You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I'm like, she's probably not ready to cut the umbilical cord. You know what I mean? I mean, she's that's probably why she's staying in it so long. That's the only reason that I have to think about it because if you have this epiphany about your trigger and how you don't feel like you're ready, Jordan ain't some type of brother to be like, if I can't have you, no one was. He'd go off the deep end. Is that what we're saying? If she decided to end things, no. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. To be quite honest with you guys,
Okay.
he did that mess to Simone, did he not?
what he went off the deep end when she broke up with him? Did he stalk her?
He he was really attached to Simone.
Well, yeah, I know, but he didn't go off the deep end. He lit. Okay, did he wild out a little bit? Yeah, but it's not something I. It's understandable.
Kobe,
Okay,
That's
but
it's
what
so
was his
interesting because
next
one of the
stop
things that you
though?
consistently ask me is, would this be the same if it was switched around? And now I'm like drawn to a
Would
question
what be the
of,
same?
would y'all be fighting as hard for a man to keep a woman who is so clearly weighing him down and impeding his progress in life?
See, I think so because if the same exact character traits and the same exact things we've seen on screen were gender swapped, I think so because I don't feel that it's as bad as you guys say it is. Like he's as intentionally bad to her or
We're
as
not saying that
being
he
as
is
selfish to
intentionally
her.
doing a lot of this, or I'm not saying he's intentionally doing a lot of this. I'm saying it's getting done, both intentionally and sometimes intentionally.
Even when he's working hard to not do it, it still seems like, oh well, nothing you could do, so just break up with her and leave and exit out her life and never talk to her ever again.
I never
That's
said
what it
that.
feels. That's
I
what it
never said
sounds
they
like.
had to break
That,
up and never talk to each other again.
that's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to me too.
Even though I have
You may
specifically
not
said that they
intend
need
it.
to go back to being friends. Well,
Can
I
you
can't
really
help
be
what it sounds
friends?
like because I've also said certain things that if you choose not to actually address and or acknowledge those things, I really can't do much nothing about it.
This whole okay, all right.
It's similar to what I experienced with the Spolivia lovers who seem to think that I'm the Antichrist. I have literally
Because
advocated for them to
every
go back to being friends and saying that they were best as friends, but they people will swear that I think that they need to break up and never speak to one another again.
because a lot of the points that you brought up earlier led that way. They skewed that way.
No, they don't. I literally said that he
It
needs
was
to back
implied.
away so that he can actually work on himself and pick up on things and show up for her without the expectations that come with the romantic love.
Oh,
I've said that.
Hmm. Well,
Have I
And I
not said
think
that,
in an
Ashley?
ideal, yeah, because in an
can
ideal world, they need to go and try to work on themselves individually before they come together romantically. But if I look at Jordan's behaviors, I'm saying that Jordan will ice her out right
no,
now because I
I don't
really
think
feel
so.
that
I
way.
don't think
I
so.
think
If
he
anything,
would.
if anything, he'll probably do what he did when Simone broke up with him. He go on a freaking smash turn trying to fuck a
Yeah, he
bunch of
didn't
white
ask her
women.
out either.
That's probably what he'll do. That's his coping mechanism. That's probably what he would do. I mean, shit. That's the pattern here. So
And so tell me the pattern again.
I'm saying if Layla decided to, break up with him and like leave, he'd probably be in his feelings, isolate himself, and just have random hookups with white females like he did when Simone broke up with him, which is a problem in itself. But I ain't gonna talk about that. No.
And I felt
Yeah.
like he iced Simone out because he focused all
You
his
think
time
so?
and attention.
Did
Because he
he?
was focusing all his time and attention on Layla.
Wait, did he? When she broke up with him initially, or when they were still together?
Before y'all jump into the Simone part, can I selfishly go back because I'm in a very selfish space, and I'm gonna go ahead and identify that. It's interesting to me that the talking points is that Erica don't want Jordan and Layla to even be friends. When I am a real life advocate for the love of your life coming out of the damn friend zone and how beneficial the damn friend zone is and how women can get to better understand if a man is truly in their corner and then also equip him with knowledge if he's actually able to spend time in the friend zone and befriend her and care about her in other ways than sticking his parts in her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
the fact that y'all are
We
trying
were
to
friends
Bible
though.
my name now and
we
say
were.
that I'm trying to banish Jordan to the land of never seeing Layla again ever when I simply want her
Before
to
we got on
not be
Discord,
romantically tied to this man and committed in expectations that are clearly
okay,
wreaking emotional and mental havoc upon her being.
okay. Well, let me
It's beyond
restate
me.
then. I'll withdraw. I will withdraw that statement, and then I will restate it in a different way. It seemed like that the them should be friends was kind of not spoken out as loud as the them just needing to break up in general was before we got on Discord.
I
That
think
seemed
Eric
to
has
be more of the
always
conversation.
mentioned them about being friends. I don't think I have ever heard her not say that.
You know what this
I
reminds me
feel
Before
of?
we
And
got on
life is
Discord,
funny,
yeah.
baby. Lord, life is funny. One of my best friends is a man. And I have so much stress with this nigga. But I love that man. And I think that he loves me. But when I
Like
call him and
earlier in
talk
the
about
stream, yeah.
what'd you say?
I said earlier in the stream that sentiment wasn't as loud as the Jordan not doing it right. She needed to end the relationship with him.
I hear you. I hear
That's
you.
kind of what
So
it
let
was.
so
Was that?
so just go with me real quick. Let me cook real quick. Kofi got to burn an egg. So let me at least just to be able to give y'all some really, really, really well made eggs real quick. Dominic, thank you so
Okay.
much, boo. Have a good night.
Oh, shout out to Dominic.
My close best friend is a male. I was having a conversation with him about the women talking about choosing a bear or a man. And if y'all on TikTok, then y'all have seen that.
What?
And there's a whole conversation where a man interviewed 10 women, and 9 out of 10 women said if they had to choose with being stuck in the woods with a man or a bear, they would choose the bear. And
Uh,
he knows me very well. And he said some things, and he's like, well, Erica, you don't like niggas, so that's why you gonna choose the bear. I already know. And I told him that I am indifferent to men in a patriarchal society, which comes across as if I don't like men, when the truth of the matter is the men that I should like, I actually do like, and I give respect and reverence to, but I'm not bowing down and or bending over for just any random ass nigga doing any random ass things and or deplorable things. Of course, Erica, you always got a lot to say. We went back and forth within this conversation because he thought it was absolutely ridiculous, and he was saying certain things that mirrored a lot of the red pill ass niggas that not necessarily was disrespectful, because a lot of red pill men be disrespectful to women, but he came to this point where he was like, well, you're pointing out, because I gave him an example of right now in my neighborhood, there's a man who moved in down at the very end of my street, and he started to inappropriately approach me. And I felt unsafe, so I could not walk my dog in that way anymore. I'm talking to him about this, and he's like, well, I mean, you're talking about the issues that women face with men, and I get it. Like, that nigga shouldn't be doing that to you. But also, there are good men out there, and you not saying that just as much as you saying what's going on. This is not about that. That's my thoughts for that. In a circumstance where I'm having a conversation where I feel seen and heard by a man, I'm going to speak that. I'm going to address that. I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm going to celebrate that. But if I'm in a conversation and I'm discussing the areas of opportunity for a man, it is not now the onus on me to also add in a little bit of sugar and come up with something and make sure you iterate that, because this feels a little bit too harsh. And I really am standing 10 toes down in that, because women don't get that privilege. We got to take life's medicine and all the trauma and all the experiences and all the disrespect and all the dismissal and everything without anybody coming to pat us on our goddamn back and be like, but you know what? You still a bomb ass bitch though. You still fly. Like, so it's wild to me that you're like, but you didn't lead with them actually being friends. My whole criticism in this episode was not to point. I literally have said, I'm not saying that Jordan is a bad person. I'm not saying that he's specifically diabolical. My focus is how clear and how I felt vindicated in all of the things that I brought up previously based on what Leila had going on in this episode. All of my talk has been way less critical and nitpicky, I feel like, in reference to Jordan and giving him plenty outs. But because I didn't drive home the narrative of like, oh, y'all have to be friends, all of the times that I've said it, or even how I have mentioned it, has not been enough, because it's not equal to the very blaring and clear signs for me in this episode that they are not on the same page. He is out of his depths, and he is not going to be able to help Leila at this particular season in her life. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was I was specifically talking about this live. I wasn't talking about any other lives before or any conversations we had before then. Because, yeah, of course, I know for a fact that you have been preaching that since the day I met you.
So why do y'all need, this is crazy, why do you need that to be a focal point as well?
Why do we need what to be a focal
Because
point?
this particular episode was a Jordan heavy episode. That's why. And usually,
I
at
don't
least
feel
for
like it was a
me,
Jordan heavy episode. I feel like it was a Leila heavy episode.
Leila.
no, I meant like the conversation we were talking about. Like a lot of the back and forth that was going on was more so about Jordan than Leila.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Okay. And because I didn't focus on how great of a friend he needs to be, which I don't know him to be a great friend. So that's the whole other conversation, which is probably, I can't speculate of why I didn't iterate about them being a friend and like focus on that, because that's not my damn focus. That is a given for me. Spencer and Olivia break up. As long as that nothing happens and nobody cheats and does some foul shit, I'm under the understanding that if Olivia breaks up or Jadela breaks up and nothing foul play happens, then they're doing so and becoming friends again. That is my default.
Okay.
I'm not playing up Jordan being a friend because I don't know how he's going to show up as a friend. If I'm being honest, I would hope that he could do better, but at least in the friend zone, there's less pressure on Leila to do anything to please this man in this way, because she's already a great friend. In addition
But
to
I
working
think that
out when
we've
it would be a
seen
great boyfriend,
Jordan.
he would be working on showing up as a really good friend, and they go hand in hand. And like, you figure that shit out, nigga, on your own. For me.
Wait a minute. I
We've
thought he
seen
was
him be a good friend to her. Yeah,
Yeah,
before they got
before they
together.
got together.
We've seen him be a good friend to her in the midst of his dismay with his relationship. So he was seeking something from her. And under the context of being ostracized from their particular friend group, we have not seen him be a great friend to her in the circumstance that she's in right now. Exactly.
We
Mm,
didn't
At the
mm.
time that
because
he
they
was a great friend to her, it required a lot less. The bar was much lower. Being a
hmm
great friend to Layla right
So it
now in the
doesn't
midst
count.
of a mental health crisis is going to require more from everybody. Anybody who want to call her friend.
right
So
because
because the
I
bar is
didn't see
lower, it doesn't count.
no.
I don't agree with that.
I concur.
So we
I
should
didn't fully
just give a
hear. I didn't
cookie
fully
because
hear
you
what was
showed
said.
up.
Yes.
You know, everybody
Yeah.
sounds so defeated because they just try to play me like I don't like the friend zone, and that I never said that Jordan and Layla needed to be friends and not romantic
I
lovers.
clarified I was talking about this live
Antonio has
specifically.
retracted his then statement, but Kofi, I don't know.
I don't know. Look,
No, they
when I hear
everybody
friend
sounds so
zone, I
defeated because we
hear
unpacking Jordala, and they really the
when I
men is just
hear
fighting
friend
for them to
zone,
stay
I
together
hear.
as always.
Uh, I got no comment on the friend zone comment. So I have some interesting thoughts about the friend zone, but this isn't the live or the time for me to dive into all that.
I know I'm in
I'll
the
talk
minority
about
with
that
that.
another.
I know I'm in the
I'll talk
minority.
about that
People tell me
another time.
all the time I'm in the minority. People demonize the friend zone, and when I tell you, if I don't feel like a nigga is invested in me beforehand, you gonna be hard pressed, sir. You gonna be very hard pressed to make me believe anything that you goddamn say if I don't first see you as a great
Yeah,
friend.
I think because a lot of people they haven't had like the lengthy conversation and the nuanced specifics of that type of friendship. They probably won't get it. But because we've had a lot of those for years now, it's pretty more understandable.
Hmm. Kofi, I don't know. Maybe we'll have the friend zone conversation. I don't know what you need to share that you don't want to share now.
I was just gonna say, like, I've I've seen situations where I've had homeboys that have been there. They try and do the right thing. They try to be that emotional support, that good friend. I mean, even though they want more, they just feel like the girl be playing in their face. Like,
Okay, that's where you already done fucked up. See, that's where you
The
already
want
fucked
more
up.
part is what she's
If
talking about.
you're in my friend zone and you don't actually really want to be there, you don't actually really want to be my friend, leave.
no,
We're also
that's
not going
not.
to get
I'm.
romantic. My point in
It's
the
not
friend zone
me.
and why it's probably not
It's
working
my
for most
boys.
people is because men
It's my
go there
boys.
unwillingly because they're not actually invested in this woman. They don't care about getting to know her in this specific kind of way and
It's
or all around. And then it
no,
backfires because she doesn't ever want to let you out of there. And I'm saying women like me are never going to let you out of there because we can tell that you don't give a fuck about us.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. See, here's where we are. This is where we have the disconnect because those are my boys. I don't particularly feel that way. I'm okay with being in the friend zone. All right, because
Right, but
friends
you're
are.
saying that these women were playing in their faces, but it seems
That's
like they
what
were
they
playing in the
told
women's faces
me.
by pretending to be their friend.
That's what they told me. They said that. That's what they said. I feel that way. That's them. Don't put me in a box with them. That's them. That's their cross that they got to deal with. Me, I'm straight.
So what's your
So
issue with the friend zone?
I don't have an issue with the friend zone, so to speak. I just think if you're not interested, just be honest and tell them so that you don't give them this sense of false hope. You know what I mean? Just be honest. Honesty is the best policy. You do that, you'll save yourself a lot of time and hurt and pain. Trust me.
I think that honesty, yes, is the best policy, but also I think men need to understand the benefits of having women in their lives that are not just potential romantic things.
This was
So
that
to
conversation I
say
was talking about.
everybody just need to be honest. You need to be honest about the fact that you need to not just be pursuing women and companionship with women just so that you can stick your thing in her thing.
Mhm.
Because it's a very real thing that women can fall in love with the type of person that you are because y'all have spent time as friends and got to know each other without the pretense of we're going to eventually be bumping uglies, without the pretense of oh, ultimately he wants this from me in this regard, but in a way that allows you to just be a real ass person. That's
Yeah,
honestly
I
the
don't.
only way that I damn want it because I don't have it to do. I feel like I'm a very great judge of character, but also a bitch be hopeless romantic and be falling in love. So I have committed to, like, if I don't feel like you actually want to be my friend, I'm not doing this shit with you, because niggas be lying. And while
See,
you're saying everybody needs to be honest, I feel like men are the most dishonest when they come into it. A woman could not be interested in you romantically, but then learn about your personality because y'all spent more time together, and then fall for your ass and fall hard as fuck. But y'all don't
man
even, y'all
can't.
rob yourselves of that particular opportunity, because on the onset, when she see you, she not head over heels, like your ass is head over heels. And it's just like, I guess,
All right.
for me.
I mean, for me, that's not my intention. I'm not trying to just get to know you just so I can stick my thing in you. I want to have a genuine connection. We'll talk the sex part maybe when we cross that line and we decide to get in a relationship. But as for me, it's about the deep, nuanced conversations. If I can't hold an intelligent conversation with you, then I'm wasting my time. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
And some guys will do enough to kind of win a woman over. And it was like you were pretending or to get in my pants. You see what I'm saying? So I just,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Look, as for me, I'm not afraid of the friend zone. Unfortunately, some of the dudes that I hung with were. So that's something that they need to work out on their own. All right. That's kind of. I mean, I feel like y'all women hold all the power anyway. So it's like it's
I wish we knew it. I wish we knew it. Lord, I wish we knew it. Because we do. We do hold a lot of power.
That's what I'm saying.
I
It's
wish
like
I knew it in
not
my
like a
20s. Because,
men
baby, when
don't.
I tell you I did not feel like that, but I do feel like it now.
Yeah, I don't. And I see, and I think that men don't get to do that to women in the same way that y'all get to do it to us.
Use more
We are,
words. Use more words.
we get, yeah. I'm just gonna be frank when I say it. It's like if we want you, we gonna jump for it, head over heels. Like we going for it. We're not going to say, no, let me just put her to the side here. Whereas, you know, the women they hold the cards. Like they get to decide whether they want to pursue something right away or if they just want to wait or they're not ready for it. You know, that's what I've at least experienced or what I've seen in the time I've been on this earth.
I need more
So
So
words in
then they,
reference to, like, how you see women. So you think that women are just putting men aside just as like a power move?
no, I just
Some
think
are.
some are, but for the most part, it's more of a "can I trust you" type of thing. You know, because they don't want
And
to
you don't
just
think men
say,
could
"Oh,
do the same thing?
I don't think." I mean, they can, but I don't. I haven't seen it in at least the guys that I've talked
There are
to.
not a
They've
lot of
never
men out here
had
that's
to put
friend zoning
that
women.
position in there.
But y'all should be. That's my point. That is my
Well, we
goddamn
don't.
point.
Well, we don't. I don't know
Y'all
why we
should
don't.
be. Y'all actually do have. I'm saying that we have a
No.
lot of power from the perspective of before we care, and at least before we care too
Hmm.
much, we have most of the power, the veto power. Men still have a lot of power because y'all ultimately do the initial choosing. I don't approach niggas. I'm never gonna do it. I've had a conversation with
Yeah,
my
we have.
homegirls. I have talked about it. Erica, you got it. Nah, I'm just never gonna do it. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'm probably never gonna do it. You should never say never, but I'm never gonna do it. So I'm relegated to whoever's gonna come up to me, regardless of how I feel about the people in my circumstance. However, getting in community with niggas, even in niggas that I'm interested in, one gives me the benefit of staying around them, getting to know them, giving them additional opportunities to approach me if they actually see something that they like as they continue to get to know me. So what I'm saying is, like, y'all niggas still have y'all have a good amount of power. We have the veto power up until we actually
mhm.
give a shit. And then once we give a shit, that's it. Which is why we got to choose right
Oh,
before we actually care, because we be fucked up after we care. Men still
oh.
have
Most
a lot of
definitely,
My
power,
because
but
men
y'all
are
thing
use
was
your
hunters.
like,
power for the wrong things, and you're pursuing the wrong things. Like, you're still leading with the lustful nature versus getting to know this person. You don't have to entertain
I
no
think
hoe if you don't want to. You can take time and just and set for yourself standards of like, well, I want her to understand and love my anime, and I want this and I want that, and like literally get to know women and like and dish out the amount of time that you spend with this person versus the amount of time that you spend with that person based off of those things. That's what I'm speaking about when I say I feel very powerful. Because Erica ain't going for half the shit. Erica ain't going for 85% of the shit that she was going for in her 20s. That makes me feel powerful as fuck. But I'm still under, to repeat, I'm still under the same powerlessness, if you will, to be picked because I'm not approaching no nigga.
And two, Erica, we're a different caliber of women too. And so when a man hunts, he hunts. And when he gets what he wants, he's moved on to something else. I'm not going to approach a man either. But a man also knows I'm not going to put up with a lot of his mess before he even speaks to me. And that intimidation factor.
Yeah, because we
Child, they
are
can miss me
afraid
on
of
that because
what
I
rejection.
from
don't
a
think I'm
man,
intimidating. But if you're
Hmm.
intimidated, that's your problem, baby.
or
It
oh,
Go
you
is.
ahead,
saying
Antonio.
the
Sorry.
women being intimidating?
What you saying?
I was just asking for clarification. You were referring
Yeah,
to like
a
a
woman
woman
can
being
be
intimidating?
intimidated to a man. Yes.
Hold
Okay.
on, what?
That women
I
can
was
be
just asking.
intimidating to some men.
I don't believe
Oh
that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I was
okay.
just asking for clarification. What?
that yeah. I'm gonna be quite honest.
You
We
don't
can't
think
be.
that?
I believe that
No,
men
no.
can be intimidated. I don't think that the woman was intimidating.
No, I disagree with that, especially because, like she said, men do a lot of the approaching. So in that scenario, yes, there are some women who can be intimidating to men.
Right, but he was intimidated. That doesn't mean that she was intimidating. That's exactly what I said.
Wouldn't that be the same thing?
No, it's not the same
What's the
thing to me.
difference? So so men can men be intimidating,
Yes.
Yes.
but women can't.
But when I'm thinking about when men are most intimidating are usually in circumstances where harm can be brought to you. Men saying that Erica is intimidating because she says whatever's on her mind with confidence, you're intimidated. I am not intimidating. I am myself. I am confident. I am passionate. You are intimidated. I can be
The same
intimidated
thing can
by
be
a
said by a
man. A
man.
man could be intimidating if he's standing over me, not taking no for an answer, and I'm saying I'm not interested.
You don't think a woman can do the same thing?
I guess physically, but that's not okay. All right.
I see what you're saying, Erica.
I feel the
I
same
can
way
see
No,
about
what
woman
I
to
see what
woman.
she's
Like
saying too.
some girls, like I don't want to talk to her because she's arrogant, and I feel and she's intimidating. Is she intimidating, or are you just intimidated? You're insecure, which is
It's not
very
even
fine.
a negative
insecure.
thing. And that's
But the
And
that's
way
my
some
you
point.
said it
Even
is
for a
as
man,
as a negative thing, specifically to black women. And you're speaking to one who's had to
for
like,
example,
I've already had to process and like heal through like, cool. You think I'm intimidating, baby? You're just intimidated. I did not do anything to harm you, to threaten you. I literally just showed up. I show up into
it doesn't
spaces and
even
people
have to
tell me
be.
like, wow, you bring a ton of energy with you and you're all smiles and people gravitate towards me at industry events and shit like that. And then some people might feel intimidated by that. I am not doing anything different. Whatever you feel
Maybe I should give
is
an
what you
example.
feel.
I'm saying it doesn't have to be a personality or thing. For example, to some dudes who don't interact with women that much, when they see a beautiful woman, that can be intimidating to them.
And I'm saying that
Yeah,
that
It
beautiful
doesn't.
woman is not intimidating. She's beautiful and you are intimidated and or insecure about her beauty.
And then I'm saying the same thing applies to dudes.
I don't describe it as that. When I come across a nigga at an industry event and I'm like, oh my god, he's so fine and he's just so well spoken, I don't immediately go to, oh, I'm so intimidated. I don't.
But I think that's
because you
also
know
because
what you're
women
coming to the
don't
table with.
approach men that often on the as the ones being assertive to try to engage and start a relationship.
I don't approach men
I
at
think
all.
that's why you don't. That's my point. That's my point.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to hear everything that you're saying, so I'm like, say it
That
again.
that's my point. My point is because women aren't engaged in that way, the same way a man is, it doesn't feel like intimidation.
No, I feel like it don't feel like intimidation because it's not intimidation. Intimidation for me is the men who make me feel very uncomfortable and unsafe. This is why I have a problem with men using against women because women are not making you feel unsafe. We might be making you feel small. We might be making you feel dumb. We might be making you feel unseen. We might be making you feel like not the center of attention, but we're not making you feel unsafe.
So is there a better word that I should use instead of that then?
When referring to women, hell yeah.
So
Unless this
what's
Like
woman is
what though?
exacting mental or physical emotional harm upon you, she's not intimidating you. To me.
So what would be a better
All of what I just said. What
Erica's
name the
basically
thing that
telling
that came up for you? Oh my god, she's so beautiful. Her beauty is overwhelming me. Oh my god, she's so well spoken. She, her intellect is insane. Like I'm uncomfortable with. I don't know what to say to her because her intellect is crazy. All of that is valid.
okay.
But summing it up to she's intimidating because she can speak and string together some words. She's intimidating because she's beautiful. She's intimidating because she just moves around the room with such effort and ease. Child, please.
So
But
what I'm hearing
what I'm
Erica say
saying
is
is
basically take responsibility for your own actions. Nobody
mhm,
can make you feel any kind of way. You make yourself
mhm,
feel that way.
In those non-harming moments, if you're feeling
right. That's
fear
yeah,
due to
that's what I was
like
talking about.
impending
The
threat and
non.
harm, somebody can definitely make you feel away. But in these
Yes.
social
I wasn't talking about
settings,
that.
and
Yeah.
specifically with men, as we navigate society, y'all have to take more of the onus onto yourself about your feelings and your actions. Because a lot of harm that's exacted
Hmm.
upon women comes from y'all also shifting blame, whether social or whatever, to women for how you feel. And that's
Yep.
what I think the whole she's intimidating does.
See, I didn't see it as like blaming her for it. I was just saying I see it as it being the way that that interaction has the person feeling, which is not necessarily that which doesn't necessarily mean that it's her fault.
But then if it's a call or a name to how this person is feeling, then why haven't you named in it how you actually feel? It's a cop out.
What
She's intimidating.
the
It does not force you to actually to name the part in you that's uncomfortable, the part in you that's ashamed, the part in you that feels not enough. It doesn't force you to do
mhm.
anything internally. It literally puts all the onus back on her for existing
You
in a
think
lot of
so?
time, in a lot of ways.
And she may not even have what you think she has. And she may not even have that. She may not even invoke that fear, but that's the fear that you have instilled in your mindset.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And I think it's
Interesting.
normal because we've been socialized to to do it. And again, I'm speaking from a woman who has been given that label, and it has taken me processing and getting to an understanding of why I'm uncomfortable with it, why I don't accept it, and why I now outright object to it. And being able to talk to people in these ways about that, but then also being in circumstances where I might have felt intimidated by another strong woman or powerful woman or whatever, and really asking myself, is she intimidating or am I feeling less than? Am I feeling like I pale in
Hmm.
comparison? Am I feeling like I don't belong in this room? Like, that's what it came down to
Yeah,
me.
I think that's a very good. Excuse me. I think that's a very good point because like a lot of dudes like the way you put that into words, like we don't get taught like that stuff. Like I never, out of 28 years, I never thought of it like that
That's
because
valid.
there's not really, it's like you said about like socialization, like from media to music to anything in the world, they don't really, the way the world works is they make it easy for the man to not have to put the onus on himself.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it is brought to our attention, it's a little easy. It's easier to just walk around ignorant about it.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it does. It
It
definitely
does.
does. I think, not to step on your very valid point, and I 100% understand it. I think that's where I have so much dissonance, or not, maybe not dissonance is not the right word, contention sometimes with men, because while I understand that y'all are not being taught that, specifically because this is a patriarchy, y'all are literally front of mind. Maybe not black men specifically, but men are specific. Our society is built to make men feel comfortable, for men to feel strong, for men to feel powerful, for men to feel all of the things. And y'all happen to fall into that just because of y'all's gender. I struggle because I was not taught it either. It's something that I had to develop along the way as I was wrestling with feelings that came from these conversations or being labeled in this way. So what I want and hope for men is to put down the defenses to protect certain things that they have been taught because it's what they know, and start questioning it more and then actively without a woman having to tell it to you, because that's the experience that I feel like I have had. And it won't be for everything, but you know, and I don't know how that happens.
But I think it
Yeah,
takes something that we have to want to learn. And I think that's where it comes down to. You just need exposure. We have a lot of the exposure we have access to nowadays, like social media. I'm a lot older than you all are. And so, what you all have been afforded to learn and get information when I was growing up, we didn't have that ability. The only ability that we had was the library and the encyclopedias, and they were outdated. Minute to minute, you can learn whatever you want to learn on this earth. If it's emotional intelligence, if it's how to cook, how to clean, how to take apart something, how to build it, you've got it. And people don't want to do that, but they want to say, this is what you've done to me, but put it on the other person and walk away like, oh, I'm clean. I'm good. It wasn't me, it was them.
I'm just so
Hmm.
curious what's on y'all's mind right now. Sophie and
I don't
Antonio.
know.
I don't know. Like, I don't really
Uh,
know where to go.
I
I
don't
don't
know where
really
to
know where
go
to
from
go from there.
here. I mean,
I was like, because I'm
hmm
just like absorbing everything that we just talked about.
yeah. Seems like we spent the majority of this life dissecting Jordan and Layla. We didn't get to Spencer and Dion. We didn't get to Olivia or
Oh
Cooper and
yeah.
Patience. But, you know, Jordan and Layla's story hit in this episode. So it's only natural we spend most of the time on them because it seems like there's some discourse between the two of them. More so I've seen in this season than I've seen in any past season, which is an interesting um, tidbit that I've picked up on.
I think you might feel that way because specifically this episode, I can't necessarily say this season consistently, but definitely this episode, I feel like the writers actually let the characters live versus constructing their perfect little path that was going to obey what they actually wanted them to do versus allowing them to experience what would seem most natural for them to experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But before we get out of here, if we want to talk about Olivia and Spencer slash Billy Baker 2.0,
No,
feel free to share your
no.
thoughts.
I didn't like the conversational. I didn't like the direction to have the scene with the letters be conversational. I don't know why. I just didn't. I didn't like that decision.
Mm, okay.
I thought it was a good way to at least get Tay back on the screen for probably the only time, for maybe one more time, give a sense of closure, you know? So I will always appreciate it.
No, I didn't mind having him back. I felt like they could have had him doing like him there and saying the words from the letter without it feel like they were like finishing each other's sentences. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That specific part is what I didn't like about it.
gotcha. Okay.
So I
We had
take
the
it that
call
100.
to like, is Spencer and Olivia Billy and Grace? And in this episode, I feel like there
No.
was a very real point of like, oh no, they're Billy and Laura. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I got the Billy and Laura vibe because when he Spencer was reading that part of the letter when after Dion had come back and then Billy said something about the fact that Laura said something and then in walks Olivia. I think they were consciously trying to say that they're gonna make it like Billy and Laura, unlike um, Billy and Grace. So that was a very intentional. So I peeked it. I caught that. So
Hmm. I don't. To me, I still didn't understand why Olivia was even there in the first place.
Sorry. Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
I'm like, why
I
did they?
said
They
the
didn't have to
same
involve.
thing. I was like, why
She
is
don't
she
know
here?
Dion. Like, she don't know this dude. Like, she don't live there. Like,
The
this
only
could have
thing
been
is her
just
stopping Dion
Spencer,
from leaving when they were
Dion.
trying to eat. But other than that, I was just like, y'all really trying to sell this relationship real hard. But y'all about a season
Exactly.
and a
That's what
half
I'm
too late
saying.
because when in season 4, when I was calling for them to just be living and doing life and their relationship take the back seat and just be happening in the background, y'all ain't want to give it to me. Now all of a sudden they can't leave each other's sides.
Yeah. I was like, okay. I see y'all dragging it, all right, but fine.
Um,
Wait, Angela, did it cut out?
no, I was because when I was watching, I was trying to understand why they used the Batman reference between Olivia and Spencer.
But I just looked up the Batman reference, and Batman's motto was like, a hero can be anybody. And
Yeah.
that fits Spencer wholeheartedly.
Wait, on the second watch though, I thought that she was calling herself Batman.
Oh, she could have been. I just know I heard Batman.
I heard Batman too and thought
Yeah,
she
I
was
think she
talking
was
about
calling
Spencer, but
herself
when I
Batman.
rewatched it, I was like, oh, she's talking about herself? This is weird.
I thought she was talking about
She
Spencer.
was.
Let me see.
No, she was talking about herself.
I can't hear you, Antonio. You're a little low.
I said I think she was talking about herself because he had made like a joke.
Mm.
No, I'm going to it right now. Hold on, y'all.
Kind of
Ooh,
missed
yeah,
Asher in
she
this
said.
episode.
In fact,
Kofi
Hey,
now.
she was on text her better.
that's just my opinion. Hey, he's my man's, bro. Like they were in Crenshaw.
Kofi coming out of nowhere. I kind of miss Asher this episode. Child.
That's my boy, though. Like they were in Crenshaw for the majority of this episode. You telling me they couldn't? He couldn't just like they couldn't pop.
No, they couldn't have. And Asher
No,
don't
because
live in Crenshaw.
Yeah, he do.
They
With him
actually
and
moved him to
his
Crenshaw Light.
in Granddaddy's house, GW's house,
GW's
at
house.
Crenshaw.
This
But
white
he
guy
had no.
this white guy who's redeemed himself with his Asian girlfriend and they mixed race baby in Crenshaw. Like they do live in Crenshaw now.
I know they do, Kofi, but we ain't need them in this
Like,
episode,
oh,
child. We ain't even leave, like, we ain't leave the house
Nobody
last
said
night.
nothing about a night man. This ain't
Wait a minute,
Gotham.
but Kofi, what does he have to do with Billy? What's his ties to Billy?
Billy
He's
did
a
say
Kofi
before
reporter.
just
he
wants to see his
died.
boy.
No. Billy did say before he died he was one of his favorite players. So like that's important. You know what I mean?
Billy also said that
Not
both
but
twins was
he
his
He
favorite
also
also
told me
twin.
said that
clearly
both his
they
twins
was
was his favorite.
favorite.
so what? We're gonna call Billy a
Which
liar.
I knew he was gonna do that too.
Who do
You
you
gonna
think is
call Billy
actually
a
his real
liar?
favorite?
Spencer.
Okay,
Yo,
hold on,
you
real
know
quick.
what's
I'm
crazy?
about to play the scene, so we can get clarity on the Batman thing. Hold on one second.
Night bandit that's like creeping around and robbing people? Nobody said nothing about a night bandit. This ain't Gotham.
Okay, Spencer said nobody said nothing about a night bandit. This ain't Gotham.
There's been a few break-ins lately.
There's
Right.
been a
Why
few
would the
break-ins
Angelo and
lately,
Cabo ask me to house it? Okay, but if this were
but his mama asked him how it. She said, "Okay, if this were Gotham,
I'm pretty sure that would make me Batman.
I'm pretty
Could
sure
also
that would
take
make
on
me
the bat
Batman
signal. I had to fly over here to protect you.
because
Yeah,
I had
that's
to
the
fly over
only
here to
reason I
protect
asked
you."
you.
Only in a
Okay, that's
dream.
what the joke was.
What'd you say, Antonio?
Okay. I said, oh, that's what the joke was. I remember him making the joke, but I couldn't remember what it was. But I felt like, speaking of the letters and Billy, Jordan still got shortchanged in the letter.
Did I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was saying, in the letter, Jordan still got shortchanged.
Yeah,
He didn't really say nothing of like substance to Jordan like he did with Olivia.
Wait, that part when he
He
says "I
was just,
believe in you" doesn't that's
yeah,
not substance to you?
no, that surface level plot point of we need him to feel like Billy loves him. So we just gonna write that in there. But there was nothing about Jordan as a person or his dreams or his goals or anything like that.
Okay, serious question. Who do you think we really think is his favorite twin? Because he said them both.
It's Olivia,
Spencer.
baby girl.
Answer doesn't count.
Spencer.
I'm just wondering why we didn't
I
get
think it's
Jordan kicking
Olivia.
up any dust about the damn journal.
That,
Because I feel like he got shortchanged. The letter, cool. All right, I see what you're saying, Antonio. But more so, his mama called them all there with Spencer there and handed him the man's journal, multiple pages.
Multiple, multiple.
yeah, also, like if he was journaling at that time, he would have been journaling about all of them.
That's a good
Or
point.
at the very least, Spencer's interaction with Jordan on the football field because they were playing for the same team.
Yeah, unless Laura Karen wrote that stuff herself and took
Let's stop.
out the excerpt and put it in the journal. Then he wouldn't have known no better. Because I would think a journal is more intimate than a letter that he wrote his children
So
when
much
they
more
was
intimate.
babies.
I was waiting for Jordan to at least have a side eye about the journal, and then he had nothing.
No,
Nothing.
you know
But the
it.
way
We're
that
not.
he was looking at Olivia when
Okay.
Olivia said, I told Spencer about the book. Your mama
Character
just gave your daddy
development.
journal away.
Yay.
But did you hear Laura and see her face? She said, and I'm giving you yours because I didn't want to hear you whining. She knows her son.
But
Facts.
not
I
well
caught
enough.
that
Why
too.
didn't you call Spencer later to give him that damn journal?
Also, why didn't you give Olivia the journal when she was still writing the book?
That's a
That's his
great
final
point.
days.
That's a really
I,
great point.
I told you that 25 page book. That's perfect. I've never seen a novel so thin in my life. Remember when she put it in that envelope? That thing wasn't bulky or wasn't nothing. It looked like it was about 25 pages. Hmm.
Not the thin ass book. Hey Naya. Um okay. So we talked about a lot. I mean I think it's very clear. Jordan and Layla, specifically Layla, heavy on the Layla, but let me not discount Jordan. They storylines gave this episode. Everybody else is up. So there's less to talk about when it pertains
Yeah.
to everybody else.
Yeah, I think we attacked at all the angles we could get at.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
But
And
I gotta
the
say
spark.
something about Coop though.
Hmm?
I gotta say something about Coop.
Oh,
This was very
Uh,
touching for me. And the reason why I say it was touching for me was because Coop went in there real cocky and thought that she could interview patients and prepare her for that court case on the
mhm.
first try, right? And many people that get in their career field and they knew in their career don't have it all together until somebody tells you to do right and do better.
Right, y'all.
good
I
enough,
Good,
think
good
we
talking
should
to
guys.
end
you.
it there. Yeah. When I said he's about to give it that work, I think that was the her cue to say, "Okay, I'm about to head out."
I'm gonna
uh,
let you have it. We had a bunch of other very impactful breakthroughs, I would say, today. So I'm gonna let you have this. Jordan gonna give anybody that work.
the remember he made the Heisman race, bro.
They just giving it out, Kofi. Of course he made the Heisman. They just giving it away.
Look, at least he didn't win it. All right. Otherwise, he would have
Look,
probably came for the riders' heads. But
the coach already told you that he won't get enough that according to the numbers.
well, Jordan about to prove him wrong, and that's another thing I expect. I think there's going to be conflict when Coach Kenny comes back, and I feel like Coach Mack's going to feel some type of way because Jordan aired him out like that.
We about to watch Spencer and Jordan win this damn game, and they're gonna do it with their own fortitude. And Coach Kenny gonna come at the last second, or maybe in the second half, because he don't give a shit about this damn job. They're gonna have a moment where they get to send off OC Snake in the grass, and yay, everybody's happy. Oh my god, Kobe, you are an Aries. You are an Aries because the way you just slid that in there, you got it. He got it. Why? That's the last thing they need to come back to. Leila ain't even checking for Spencer's ass no more. No, because Olivia at the time was checking for Spencer, so that's why it stung. Now, if Olivia goes, runs, and jumps in Spencer's arms, Layla don't give a shit. What if Olivia runs to Jordan? That's her brother. I'm sorry, y'all gonna have to go ahead and take that L. If y'all feeling like it was an L and she stole it, then just go ahead and eat that, because they're never getting that one back. And you know what? I'm glad. Hmm. Now I was gonna say, but I didn't want to be a complete and utter agent of chaos. But since we're at the tail end of this live and we could go ahead and end at any moment, I am gonna go ahead and say, I wouldn't be opposed if we're not going to get Damon and Thea. The next person in the whole All American universe that could actually do something with Layla and actually be there will be Damon's ass. I hate the idea of her running behind Simone again. I mean, yeah, running behind Simone again. But I could get with it. He is a king. He needs a. She needs Cam. Lord. I'm not. Don't put me in a position to blaspheme Cam. I'm not gonna do it because he's had just such a great growth journey, but he ain't there yet. He does, but that's for Keisha. Keisha and Layla are two different people. He's at the right, appropriate place to handle Keisha. What'd you say? She need that patience, but then he lacking other stuff. Antonio, I need that as a sound. Kim don't lack ever. You sounded so LA when you said that. Oh my god. Wait, y'all can't hear the other people? Hold on. Hilarious. Cam ain't, Cam ain't lacking never. Oh. Wait, say something. Why y'all's audio is not coming through anymore? I don't know what's going on. Hold on. It might be my damn internet, child. There's something going on with my. Hold on. I don't know what's going on. Hold on. I cannot. Y'all, I don't know. Hold on. I'm gonna close Discord real quick and I'm gonna come back in. Give me 1 second. I'm working on fixing it, y'all. Sorry about that. I think we've been on here too long. I have not done a 4 hour live in a very well. We did 5 hours early, but that was on my phone. But we have not done it this long in a very long time. So I guess it's over us.
They like
Okay, can y'all hear now? Say
Yep.
something.
Damon and
Antonio
Layla. It's
Kobe,
just
say
like
something.
Damon and Thea.
Yeah, it's not given for me.
Can y'all hear them now? Let me know.
Hey, Centric Kelly.
Antonio just had a brilliant moment. I was taken back to like the fact that he's the leader of Camp. I totally forgot. I didn't even realize I was being set
Oh
up
yeah.
and walked right into it.
Yep. He's
Cam
the
ain't
leader of the
never
camp
lacking.
Yeah.
camp. He's the
My
camp
God.
camp, and you're
Cam
talking
lacking
to
never.
From
you.
day
You talk,
one.
you talking to the leader of the
Down
camp
since day
camp,
one.
and then I'm
Cam is not
also
yet on Layla's level, but he will get
the
there, I'm sure.
and I'm also the
I can't.
captain of
I
that.
really am.
Yeah, we
You
got the
really am
camp
what?
I,
camp.
I'm really excited to see what they do with him this season because I like the storyline from last season.
Mm.
As a person who was struggling to pay for school at one point, I felt that.
Yeah, one thing I'm excited for. I'm
Damon and
excited to
Layla is
see.
crazy. Damon and Layla is just like Damon and Thea. That's why I'm okay with it. Yeah, you see, you get it. We get it.
Yeah. Well, if the series is truly ending, I don't see how they don't end it with Damon and Simone. So, but
Oh,
that's just my
brother.
opinion. That's my opinion. But
Who
also,
you think she chose?
I think she chose Damon.
You just so
I don't think
sure.
I'm positive. You know why? Because she she asked him to meet him in the quad. Where did they first meet in the backdoor pilot? The quad. That has a significant
Oh, when
meaning.
he was trying to snatch her phone like the crook that he was at the time,
Yeah.
and then he found
Hmm.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then he
Yeah,
saw her do
yeah.
her thing
He
at
was
that
being intimidating.
yeah. And then he saw her do that thing at the fashion show and instantly fell in love, bro. So it's like, yeah, she chose Damon. Yeah. But I'm watching for JR's story too, how he navigates what he's gonna do now he's sick again. So how
Oh
he
yeah, he about to put that girl through it.
oh yeah, Gabby. I know you see the trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm more
Hmm.
interested in Gabby. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Yeah. Well yeah, Marcus, you need to get your mind right, brother, and like yeah, how you married and you trying to get your old thing back with Amara. What's going on,
Oh
brother?
yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm trying to figure out what they're finna do because apparently they're following this same timeline as All American.
We're gonna get a
Like
year
Keisha's
jump
applying to
too.
grad schools. Is this what she getting denied? Like, it's so much happening in that damn trailer. I'm very confuddled.
Yeah, and
Then you got serve of it all.
what in the
God, sir.
you got served stop the yard that
Stomp the
I see in
yard.
that trailer, bro.
I know that's right.
That's what we doing.
That's what they said that y'all doing. I mean, I'm gonna be sad
Uh,
regardless. I'm gonna talk shit and I'm gonna still be sad. I ain't even gonna hold you.
yeah.
But to say I'm underwhelmed from this trailer,
Did not see
Yeah,
Thea, did
they we
not
didn't
see
even get
Lando.
Thea. That's what I'm about to say. We didn't get Thea at all,
not
which
a
is
Thea in
crazy.
And
sight.
no
But I
Lando.
gotta deal with Simone talking about she ready to dominate. Dominate who?
And, and I didn't see my
Still ain't number
chocolate
one on
brother
the depth
Lando.
chart.
Where my brother Lando at?
Oh,
That
child, we
fine
don't need
dark
him.
skinned brother. My brother. My chocolate
I
brother.
don't know.
100% for the
They didn't even show
chocolate
him
brothers.
on the field celebrating at the baseball diamond. They didn't show him there either with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
I put
Hmm.
all this in my trailer reaction, which I'm gonna post after this, so I ain't gonna rehash it. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there on premiere day, but
So,
y'all better
Well,
have
if
something
Simone
it's
to your
cooking,
friends. Simone to your friends?
huh?
Question mark? Question mark?
What do you say?
Simone and Thea friends? Question mark? Question mark?
Child. Simone and
well,
Thea
if
friends
it
the same way Olivia and Layla are friends. Okay, y'all
look,
got
if
it.
this is truly the last season, and if this is truly their last hurrah, they better go out with a bang. That's all I can tell you.
According to this trailer, I don't know if we getting that other than the dance battles that's popping.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, all right, y'all. Thank
Well,
y'all for joining me, coming on and actually speaking and adding your amazing points of view and
Thanks
providing
for
from the
some
having
male
moments
us,
of
like
contention
perspective,
that I
always.
need to flesh out my thoughts. I feel. Um,
from the male perspective to add to that,
Appreciate
but
it.
yeah, yep,
yes.
All the thoughts and sayings are from us, and Erica doesn't approve this message, however it
She doesn't
goes.
approve, but she still loves them very, very much. I really appreciate you guys. You make the community so much better, the conversation so much better, and I really appreciate knowing you and being able to converse in this way.
yep.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Can't
Of
wait for
course.
next week because I know next week is going to be a ball. I can already tell you.
I already know it's gonna be crazy with stupid stuff for no reason.
It's gonna be
I
some
was about to say, are y'all
shenanigans.
saying this in a good way? Because I'm not. I fear I'm literally expecting the worst.
Me too.
Well, this episode didn't disappoint, so maybe on 100th episode they gonna pull out all the stops here. You're gonna
When
get a
have
lot
they
of
given us
callbacks.
Maybe,
amazing
see,
episodes back to back? That's not in seasons
that's
one
what
and two.
scares me, Kofi. I think they're gonna try too hard and then, in essence, mess it up.
I do think we'll get some callbacks though.
Oh,
Probably,
probably.
and all the things that we not asking for callbacks for, but we gonna get them.
Yeah.
Y'all, thank y'all for kicking it with me
All
for
right.
freaking 4 hours. Shout out to Naya popped in. Shout out to Shanoa. Shout out to y'all for being moderators. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to all the members that's still hanging in there. And of course, you lovely subscribers. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go ahead and do so. And yeah, I will have this breakdown done. I promise. I promise. I promise. Um, and some other great videos having conversations are going to come as well. I have a bunch of Power Book 2 Ghost season 4 videos coming, and the sisters will be returning next week, so I have a bunch of sisters videos on the way as well. As you said, she let us talk TV with. This has been great. Have a good night. Ooh, child.